Hello, everyone. Hello, I'm Chipper SJP, and this is the Academic Foxhole. How's everyone doing? What are you doing? Uh, hey, Courier, Prax, Ice Bunny, Krellin, Rissa? How are you all doing? I hope you're. Is it the '80s? Yes, yes, it is. It's always the '80s in my heart. I feel like that's true. Also, I feel like my screen looks. Maybe it's just this monitor. I don't even know. Maybe it is just this monitor. I just feel like I look really odd. It might just be this monitor. Hold on. I'm going to do an experiment. I shouldn't experiment right now, but I'm going to. Uh, mm, no, I actually don't. I think it might be the camera. I don't know. Uh, oh, Prax, thank you. Of course, I'm gonna have you know Reba. Come on, come on. Like I mean, Reba. Reba's so good. I love Reba. Uh, I don't look any more odd than usual. Um, hmm. I don't know. I just feel like there's like a because here's the thing that you have to know. My soft boxes, which were normally over there, have been broken down and taken into storage. So I currently only have here, does that do anything? I don't know. My lighting is currently I've got like a small little lamp right here, and I've got that behind me, and the last of the dying light outside. So I feel like my lighting's gonna be a little bit weird. I have a ring light which I've never set up yet because I just got it, but that's what I'm taking with me to Atlanta for my lighting solutions, and I hope that I hope it'll work out. That's all I'm saying. Um, Better after waking up with aura and a migraine. I'm so sorry that you had a migraine, Ice Bunny. Ooh, Courier's eating a popsicle so you can't chat. What kind of popsicle, Courier? Once you're able to chat, I would like to know what kind of popsicle because I like popsicles and I kind of want to know. Do you remember uh, Otter Pops? Did any of you ever? Oh, strawberry, nice. Did Vulpus? I see you, and I'm gonna answer that question. Do you remember Otter Pops? They were the popsicles that had like a they were like circular and like the end was rounded. One end was round, the other end came to a point, and there was like a divot, hips in the center, so you could like break them in half, and then you'd have two different. Were those Otter Pops? No, I think Otter Pops actually were the ones that were sort of flat and square. What are the ones that I'm talking about? Do you know the ones I'm talking about? Uh, I'm so sorry about your migraine. Do you do you know what kind of popsicles I'm talking about? Let me see. Tubular popsicles from the 80s. Let's see. Can I? Yeah, no, yeah, you're right, Crone. They weren't the Otter Pops, right? Those are the ones that were uh flat and square. That's not the ones I'm thinking of. They're not that's not the one I'm thinking of. I'm thinking these. Wait, I found a. No, no, they're not dreamsicles. They are these. Uh, uh right. Okay. I don't Twin Pops? Is that what they were called? Here, I have a photograph. Open image in new tab. Oh wait, I don't even have to do that because I can just yeah, right? Okay. Yes. Yes. Here, look. Right? Do you see these right here? Right? These were the ones I'm talking about. Those popsicles, if you remember them. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. They were like this is them. This is them. Time to distract your trooper and offered Igpay at and lay on say, oh, I see you. I see you, be right. I see you. I see you over there. Um, I think I know what you're talking about. You got them for 10 pfennig, and they were nothing than sugar and water. Well, that's almost all candy is basically just sugar, really, right? But like, like these are the ones that I'm talking about. If you know what I'm, any twin Volpas, twin pops. Uh, well, Rissa, maybe you shouldn't subscribe before I go like up on screen. What's up with that? I see you. I see you, Rissa, just causing trouble like that. Uh, but yes, does anybody write twin pops? Twin pops. Is that what they're called? Nope, those were different. Apparently, twin pops are the ones that you break apart this way. Uh, no, yes, I'm Garwin. Right. So what? So they weren't twin pops because those were broken apart the other way. So what does I don't know what those things were called, but they certainly. You've never seen those things? No, no, that was a photograph. Somebody else besides me has seen them before. I swear these things I did not make them up. I used to eat them all the time. No, I just look. Those were photographs under like this. It wasn't. What is this? This nostalgia photographs. Okay. Uh. mm, just. I. I'm just saying that these were like it was a thing. I don't know what they were called, but we would get them at the local stores, and I feel like why am I the only? I feel like I didn't make them up. And the thing is, they were often too hard, and so they were like if they were too frozen, like you couldn't eat them because the plastic was actually not really rippable. So like you need to be really solid in order to actually break them apart. But if they were really solid, then you actually couldn't eat the popsicles. You needed them to be a little bit less solid so you could actually get the popsicle out. But if they were a little bit less solid, then you couldn't break them in half, which was always awkward. I feel like I'm not the only person that knows these. Uh, those look like kind of weird sex toys. Someone took a close up photo, but they're not. They are actual. They're popsicles. I swear, these are popsicles. I wish somebody. I just. I'm trying to find another photograph so that people know that I'm not the like so that I have more proof of these things existing. But I am having a hard time finding more photographs of these on the internet. But they were popsicles. They did exist. They were always a little bit awkward to eat, and I didn't make them up. I didn't make them up. There's an episode of What the F is Wrong with You where someone did use an otter pop inappropriately. Oh, no, don't use otter pops inappropriately because the edges are too, like, no, like, ouch. That's all I'm saying. So look, I popsicles. There was questions there in the chat. Hold on. Also, last night's session. Congratulations on the end of Mekton. Yay! I was not able to watch it because I was traveling, which Umbargon asked how the travel went. It went fine. I got up at like 6:30 in the morning to get up the U-Haul, picked it up at 8, drove over to my place, loaded everything up. Well, not everything, but everything was going to storage, loaded it all up, and was a little bit like a little like slow on loading up. It could have loaded a little bit faster. Was driving, and then around like 1, I was like, "Oh, I'm a little bit tired. I need to eat food." So I went and I had some food. I took a half-hour nap. I was supposed to get into Massachusetts at 4 p.m., but after that, I was going to arrive at 5, and I was like, "Oh, it's not the worst." I mean, I would have liked to get in at 4 so that I could maybe go to the office and pick up stuff that came through the mail, but it's fine. Office in Massachusetts. And then I was like, okay, well, it's 5. I should be out of here by 6. No big deal. Arrive at midnight. We're golden. But then this little old guy found me. And he wanted to talk to me about military intelligence, steganography, and prime numbers. And you know me, I have a hard time saying no to conversations. And so I didn't actually finish talking to him until like we talked for like 2 hours. And then I loaded up everything, 8 o'clock, and I was off. And so I didn't get back until like 2-ish. And I finally got home at 3 in the morning, after like, a good long day worth of travel. So that was my travel day. So at the moment, a lot of things are gone. It doesn't look like anything's different here, but you should see my living room. Like all of my furniture is basically gone. Yeah. And I am gonna then for the next couple of days like pack up all my books and make sure everything's packed and uh just that kind of a thing. Let's see. Where are we? Finale is next week. Ooh, oh, nice. Wait. Are these okay? Hold on. Copy link. I'm gonna see if Krellin has found them. Did you find them? Yes. These are them. These are them. Ice pops. Ice pops. These are. Thank you. These are them. I want to thank you, Krellin, for finding them. Those are exactly the ones that I was talking about. They are just a little awkward, but they are. Thank you, thank you. Uh, so you got squirreled big time, or do not make plans. Hey, hey, Yormord, how are you? It's hello. Yeah, so I got distracted, and the thing is, I was trying to go. Do you know what I mean? I was like, I need to load up stuff and like I need to unload. And the guy just wouldn't, he wanted to talk to me about like, he's like, do you know a patent lawyer? I was like, I do not know a patent lawyer. Anyway, so I was not able to escape. And so we had a very long conversation. Let me see, what else? There were more questions. There were more questions. But I'm gonna sing I searched for round otter pops and it was actually the first round otter pops. Hey, there were also, do you remember those triangular popsicles? They came in like a paper, like a wax paper, and they were kind of like this. There's like a triangle here, right in this direction, and there's a triangle here, this other direction, and then like you'd press the bottom, and then hey Schmelzer, I feel like nobody knows what I'm talking about. This is how I'm feeling right now, but I know what I'm talking about. Uh, no, no, no. Um, they were not. They were uh, by Minute Maid. They were by Minute Maid. They were Minute Maid popsicles that were these. That's not what I wanted. They were like Minute Maid. Let me see. Give me a second. Let me. Uh, here. Wait. So I can show this one too. These. Do you remember? Do you remember those? These ones. Did you talk about what we know enough that we know? See, it's true. These like Minute Maid juice bars, and they were this kind of like a triangle, like these two different kind of triangle shapes, and then like you would open them up and you'd like get your orange juice like in a popsicle form. They're juice bars. I Trooper, no one ever knows what you're talking about. But we just love you talking. Thank you, Krellin. Thank you. Um, I'm good. I'm waiting on the university HR department for a contract. Everything goes, ooh, a contract for what? A contract for what is what I want to know. So, uh, Jubbly 2. Let me see what this is. Copy link. You buy them unfrozen, have to be patient till then freezing that are sun lollies. Huh. I don't think I know them. What is this one here? Jubbly 2. Dear. Oh, uh-huh. We didn't have Jubblies, I don't think, in the US, but it seems like exactly the same thing, right? They were basically, yes, I feel like they're the same thing, but just with different names. And it looks like yes. This is same deal. Same deal. Hey, Scabinak. Um, Nobody's parents have the money to spend on expensive treats like that. Um, uh, there's the same thing as Otter Pop's Ice Bunny. Oh, Sunlight is a Danish version of what you just showed. Oh, yeah. No, we have actual Otter Pops too. All right, so The name game. Come on, everybody. I say now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name. I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F. Or an M will appear. And then I say bo at a B. Then I say the name. Then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain. Then a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time. And there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Rissa, 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 bo, bissa, banana, fana, fo, fissa, fee, fi, mo, missa. Rissa, Vopez, 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 banana, fana, fo, fopez, fee, fi, mo, mopez. Vopez. Thank you, thank you. Otter Pops are Groschen Ice from when I was a kid. Jormard says, oh, I don't know what the position would be exactly in the US. I will start in a project funded by the EU as a research staff while making my PhD. Oh, nice. That is awesome. What are you getting your PhD in? In German, it's called Wissenschaftlicher Mitarbeiter. Oh, yeah, it's probably just a research assistant. Is probably what we're going to call it. Probably a research assistant. Probably. Maybe. Would we call that a research assistant? Or I suppose it depends. Or maybe like a lab tech? Also, now I want these jubblies. I want this jubbly thing. It's what I want. It's what I want. By the way, Be Right UK gave us some bits, and you know what happens when that happens. Then I sing the song "We're in the Money," as sung by Ginger Rogers in the film Gold Diggers of 1933, which means I sing it in Pig Latin. Oh, performance studies theater history. Yormod. Performance? Yeah, I think maybe a research assistant? Perhaps. Maybe. I think being paid to get your PhD is just being a PhD candidate. But is it what you really? Of course, it's what I want.
Name game.
The name game. Come on, everybody. I say now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name. I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F. Or an M will appear. And then I say bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Wizard Styles, bo, Wizard Styles, banana, fanner, foe, Wizard Styles, fee, fi, mo, Wizard Styles. Wizard Styles, Thank you so much for that resub. Both a bit of digital humanities focus. That's really nice. That seems really fun. Greetings and salutations, Wizard Styles. I feel like probably a research assistant, right? Probably a research assistant. This is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking it's a research assistant. Wissenschaftlicher Mitarbeiter is used for anything from PhD students to postdocs and lab managers, by the way, because the salary system for academic researchers in Germany is so strange. It might be an RA. It might be an RA. Because we have teaching assistants and we have research assistants, and teaching assistants do teaching assistants. And then research assistants do research assistants. So, hello, Werewolf Feels. How are you? It is good. There's no real way to translate to a job title. Yeah, it might be a research assistant. Maybe. It's not a job. It's a way of life. Wait, it's not a job. It's a way of life. Wait, it's a way of life. Okay, I'm hearing a quote in my head. It's a way of life. It's a way of life. Life. It's a way of life. Who said that? It's a way of life. It's a quote. It's a quote from a film, a TV show. A way of life. Oh, I can't place it. Ooh, way of life. Way of life. I just have this little snippet of audio in my head right now and I cannot place it. I can't place it. But that said, I am going to sing. I'm going to sing right now. We're in the money for Be Right UK, as sung by Ginger Rogers from Gold Diggers 1933, which means I'm going to sing it in Pig Latin. Irway and hey, the anime. Irway and hey, the anime. Iway at gale at way of way at way at way x to ute at gale young way. Irway and hey, the anime. Ida askes arani say. Oh man, did yes and pray, ooh, what's the way? Ewe ebony ebre edleansley, elway ebreansley, today. And when we see the end, Lord, we'll look let the eye right in the eye. We're in the money, we're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along. I feel like I've not sung that in 18,000 years. I feel like it's been 18,000 years. I think the last time I sang it was in a prehistoric era, and I feel like that's just true. Uh, that's it. A wissenschaftlicher Mitarbeiter on a 50 to 70% contract as a PhD student at 100% year a postdoc. Yeah, it might be a research assistant, maybe. I'm good. I'm good. Busy doing some prep for a couple of gigs, some research study. Good, busy, not bad. Busy. Oh, nice. What kind of research? What kind of gigs? That was a weird ad. Anyone want some Twitch gift cards? What kind of gift cards? Think of a movie quote I can hear it in my head, but yeah, Skipper, it happens to me all the time. I'm pretty sure it's not Haziz Light. Maybe. And some subject patients also have 100% contracts. But yeah, Wizard Styles is right. Oh, I feel like I think for most of the times you can't have a 100% contract here because you're supposed to be a PhD student in addition, right? So if you're a PhD student, you're probably going to get a 50% RA or TA, and then if you're a postdoc, you can have 100%. Never look your landlord in the eye. That's how they turn you to stone and see your money. That's 65%. Huh. Yeah, I think most of us in the US you're capped at 50 because they say you should be spending the rest of your time PhDing. Granny Weasley, I love you. Maybe saying it's a way of life. One time, it's life. Life. Oh. Prehistoric. Is that what his kids caused people before in 2000? Yes, Missile Monkey. Yes, indeed. I collect all the extra credit for Colas. Yeah, engineering PhD students occasionally get 100%, for example, because otherwise no engineering graduate student would be interested in doing a PhD. Huh. Huh. Ice Bunny, what is it different from the thing that you posted a link to in the Discord about Bavaria, about Munich? What is the thing? By the way, we're gonna be playing Long Dark today. Werewolf Feels says, "Oh, well, I have some writing to do for a project. Ooh, I haven't been announced for yet. That has me looking into a variety of English forts in Canada. Ooh, and what happened to them, whose land they're on. Oh, interesting. Also got hired to do some research for a project taking place in France, 1910. Ooh. Plus, I'm building some character stuff for a few paid one-shots, which is nice. That sounds amazing. That sounds awesome. That sounds great. Whereas I was mostly engineering. I know some informatic data science people. Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah, I think in the US what ends up happening is that you're just not allowed to do more than 50% because it's like that percent is not how much money you're making, but how much time you're spending. And so 50% is it's hours, right? So 100% is like 40 hours a week, 50% is 20 hours a week, 25% is 10 hours a week. That's what the percentage stands for. So we have master students and they're allowed to do 25% TA work, which is basically 10 hours a week. When I was a graduate student, when I was a PhD student, I was doing 50, which was 20 hours a week. If you're in engineering, they just pay you more. Like you still are at 50%, but what that 50% is just more money. Right. So the percentage that we're talking about is not percentage of salary, but percentage of time is what we're talking about. Um, I'm glad to actually enjoy a lot of what I do now. See, that's really good. Werewolf feels. Are we, Trooper? Are we really going to play the long term? Yeah, yeah. We're going to play it. You don't even know it's going to happen. It's happening. Wizard says, on a related note, this month is my first post-PhD month, so I am in fact no longer a wissenschaftlicher Mitarbeiter, but a Bioinformatician. Oh, which is slightly more pronounced. Uh, that's awesome. By the way, Wizard Styles, what month is it? It's June. Congratulations. Congratulations on getting your PhD. That is no small feat. So, congratulations. I wish that I had a PhD song, but I would. Uh, no, I was not sure if you saw it. 46 stations in Rainbow Light Soldier with a. Oh, nice. And Germany won. uh, Krellin, we're gonna play it, but you know how I am. It's usually gonna involve us. This is one of those walking games where we walk around and then sometimes we get killed by a wolf. Also, I do enjoy playing the video games. Werewolf Feel says, I schedule a lot of things, keep progress notes that I have that I add to over weeks and the like. That's how I make sure I have time to sleep, do something relaxing. That's fair. But you can point to the piece of paper when people say, what makes you an expert? This thing. Missile Monkey, I have a comment on that. He was close to, I mean, he was fine because he was talking to Methuselah. See, I don't think you'll be playing it. No, I totally will. I totally will be playing it because I can have deep conversations while the game is on the screen. I'm just saying. Yeah, Wizard Styles, congratulations. There was something I wanted to say, though. Missile Monkey. I remember what I was going to tell you. Missile Monkey, you would think that having a PhD would make you an expert on something. But as I learned from Twitter, because people on Twitter have a lot of opinions about lots of things, and as I learned from Twitter, that having a PhD doesn't mean you know anything about the topic whatsoever. It was people like on Twitter, they're like, oh yeah, I mean, having a PhD doesn't mean you know anything about a topic. I'm so tired of all this elitism and all this like uh, elitism, right? Like just because you like have a PhD doesn't mean you know anything at all. Like I don't have a PhD and like I know just as much as people who have PhDs. PhDs don't mean anything at all. They just mean nothing. And I was like, cool. Uh, Interesting. You know, what I learned. You're welcome, Wizard Styles. So many reasons to say on Twitter. Congrats. See, the thing is, Missile Monkey, the United States is very anti-intellectual, both on the left and on the right. And we don't exactly value education so much. So there's like a lot of sort of dismissal of education or devaluing of education. And so it is, yeah, like, and so people are into it. People are into, say that just because you study something doesn't mean you know anything about it. That's very popular on the Twitter. Krellin asked me, Trooper, why do you listen to Twitter so much? Hmm. Dr. Biden does. She loves it. Courier says Americans hate education, and those who don't want to fund it, which is just as bad. Yeah, I mean, I was teaching a class, a seminar with graduate students who are getting their PhDs, and recently, and there were like a couple of them who were like, every time we'd like try to talk about topics. So I'd be like, hey, so we did our reading. Let's talk about this topic. We were going to go and this week, and there was a lot of like, academia is colonialist. I don't even know why we're here. And I was like, well, because we're in class right now. Like, every time we're like, I don't know. This article is written by an academic, somebody who has a PhD, and I feel like that's oppressive. I feel like we shouldn't be reading things by people who have PhDs. I feel like we should just be reading things by people on the streets. And I was like, well, if you'll notice on my syllabus, we also have some blogs. We have some blog posts. They aren't cited or I mean, they're just mostly opinion, but they're still really fascinating. And we also read YouTube comments all the time. Some of them are questionable, but again, interesting data to collect. But yeah, no, there was like 3 or 4 of the students who were just really who just thought that everything academic was bad, and I was like, it's going to be very difficult for you to write a dissertation when you hate yourself so much right now. Like, I feel like this is not going to be very easy for you because writing a dissertation takes years. And right now, I think it's gonna be hard for you. You know, that's where we're at. I either need to eat or at least take my meds, but else take your meds, Granny. Same here with the Social Democrats. They want all kids to get vocational job training so they pay taxes. Academics still pay taxes. I pay taxes. Uh, I pay taxes. They do that on talk shows. Uh, mm, because someone gave a university lots of money. That's why we're here. Uh, I just saying that Werewolf feels there's a reasonable dislike of academia and how white its sources can be, and thus biased, but the anti-intellectualism is so much more virulent to the point where it's forgetting that learning means learning about an author beyond just that they're educated and just colonialist. It's trying to be woke when you don't understand what that means. Oh yeah, Werewolf. But the thing is, they were saying this I mean, we were doing Trooper, but I already hate myself before. Is ever academic? Why are they in college? Indeed, that is a good question. That's cool. Such as, and the thing is, we were doing a session on K-pop, and they were like, I don't think we can talk about K-pop because all of our readings are like we're not like paying attention to like Koreans and what they have to say. And I was like, you did the reading, right? Because all the readings we had today were written by Koreans. And they're like, oh, yeah, well, but those Koreans were still academics. And once they become academics, then they've just been infected with like Western colonialist thought. And I was like, that's insult. Like, ooh, that's insulting. Um, are we going to talk about the topic for today? Are we going to talk about what are we doing? What are we doing here? So yeah, it was, you know, it's just yeah. Yeah, we know what a certain Korean thinks about K-pop. Who do these people think? How we roll? How are you? And also, I just feel like that sort of take on universities is not very well grounded. Um, no, you cannot throw towels at people. That would be abuse. Are we this was were these no, these were my graduate students from Tufts who were wanting to talk to me about like their doctoral situations. Um, yeah, no, it was very frustrating, right? Because I was like, and then they said, do we have time to unpack this? Do we need to sit down and talk about this? Because that is a lot. I know werewolf, right? Like it's Scabby Neck. Krillin, I think you should have talked about that soon. Well, it was very difficult because there was a lot going on there with progressive racism, basically, right? Where they're like, we as Westerners can't talk about Korea because we don't know anything about Korea. And I was like, well, first off, hold on, like, hold up, right? But they would never say that about any other place. Anyway, it was just like a whole mess. It was a whole mess. And every correct mix is the same and brainwash. I don't see the problem with what I'm saying. Oh, Scabby Neck, yeah. Um, and I remember at one point in time, I was trying to talk about race and K-pop because it was like my class on race, gender, sexuality, and the voice, and we were talking about race, gender, sexuality, and the voice in K-pop, or if we were trying to. Courier says, I feel like university is wasted on the young. Be great if we go to university in our 30s instead. Well, a lot of people who get their PhDs do start a little bit later, so that's nice. But I was when I taught race, sexuality, and gender and the voice in K-pop, and one of the students was like, we can't really talk about race, in K-pop because Korea doesn't really know anything about people of color because Korea is like a homogenous society, so they don't really understand race in the same way. And I was like, hold on. First off, there are people of color in Korea. I know, I did live there for a year. And also, K-pop is a global international industry, and they have people of color as their producers and their beat makers. And they do actually, they do. And then somebody's like, well, I just feel like all this discussion of like blackness and K-pop, that's just academics. I just feel like regular people would never hear any of these things. And I was like, have you been on Twitter? Have you been on like K-pop Twitter? Because not only do the bands themselves say, "Oh yeah, we were influenced by Boys to Men, we were influenced by so and so," but that's all that the fans are talking about right now in the last like year. I like it was just this like constant wanting to basically dismiss any kind of discussion as being something that only academics would hear and not regular people, as if I'm not a regular person. But also, it's not true. Like these conversations are happening right now. And it was in our reading. So anyway, um, may I ask how that student identifies culturally? It depends. I had like I am a regular person. I'm just a regular average person. I had like three students who were all up in arms about the whole thing. Um, I need to have serious discussions with some regular people I know. Like, yeah, I'm a regular person. Um, yeah, I kind of feel like everybody's a regular person. That's how I feel like. Um, Also, aren't Pacific Islanders generally considered people of color? They are. They are. You know. Grinny. Trooper, my good friend, why are you wearing a Reba shirt? Like, where did I got the shirt. I can't remember where I got it, but I'm wearing it because I love Reba. I love Reba. I probably got it. Ooh, how old is this shirt? This shirt's not, this shirt is old. I've had it for a long time because, you know, I love Reba. So, so, yeah, it's a concert shirt, right? I got it right in the here tour 2001, right? I saw her in Los Angeles, right? She was there. It's a tour. I saw her 2001 in LA. It was a great concert. It was amazing, and I loved it. And I was like, I'm gonna get my Reba T-shirt. Uh, uh, yes, she did. So weird deep question. I'm ready for it. We have some similar ideas and hot takes here in Ireland, UK, but the American version always some very quick to jump into progressive racism. We don't seem to have it as much. We do have it. What do you think drives that? Or am I wrong that it's no different? As a megawatt, it could be wrong. Um, oh yeah, I'm gonna bring up the games so we can pretend to play. I think it's mostly online, right? I think it's generational. Um, I think it's online discourse. And I imagine that it is also. By the way, we're playing the Long Dark today, just so you know. I also imagine that these conversations are somewhat global. I can't imagine that they are um, ex- within certain circles, right? Like, this feels like a very yeah. I don't think it's exclusive to the U.S. Um, hmm. Uh, she was still touring 2000. Sure, of course she was. I bet. I mean, look, uh, woke white liberal is an identity. Mhm. Um, I mean, also, as somebody feels my job to at least nudge. I do. Also, why? What are you doing? What are you doing, game? Why are you being iffy? Hold on. Game was being iffy. Hold on. Force quit. Okay, we're gonna have to restart my Steam. Hey, Steam. Whew. All right. I'm gonna restart you. There we go. Yeah. I mean, I saw Olivia Newton-John a couple years ago. She still tours, and Olivia Newton-John had her like first single in the '60s. I saw Diana Ross on tour just a couple of years ago. Uh, Reba's younger than Diana Ross, I am certain. Oh, hey, Zipper on Disney. How are you? What are you doing? Right now, we're about to start the game. Start the game. You know, whatever that means. But I had to restart it. Zipperon, I was over on Zipperon Disney's YouTube channel, which was super cool. And Zipperon, what are you doing? How is your life? What is happening? What is new? Tell me things. Okay, it actually is working at this point. We're talking about. I do. I play games. I totally do. Yeah, of course Diana Ross is still alive. She's doing very well. She's touring and everything. I saw Cher recently as well, and she was amazing. She's in her 70s. She does not look in her 70s. She was on fire. That was a great concert. Um uh, yeah. I will take the under. So, I'm betting it typically will be another half hour. Like, we'll see. I'm gonna start. Um, I do no. So here's the thing, right? This is a thing that I really think about a lot. I think that uh, you saw James Brown perform in he must have been his 80s. Oh, I bet he's amazing. I bet he was amazing live. The magic of Botox and filler. You know, Botox and filler will not allow you to do the moves she did on stage. Is all I'm gonna say. Right? Like she actually, she moved and her voice was really good still. So it was a. Oh, I'm standing by. Oh, this is what's going on right now. I'm standing by Methuselah. This is what's happening. Wanting to dry out this wool scarf, which is a little bit wet. So this is our life right now. We are. Oh yeah, we're killing time. This is great. So I can just continue chatting with you while I wait for this scarf to be thawed out, and also feel weird about our life right now. That's just where we're at. Also, I kind of think that I should just check my clothing to make sure that I don't need to repair it, you know, excessively or anything like that. Uh, he died like six. Oh wow, wow. Um, yeah, you know, I was. This is the thing I was thinking about. I was thinking about this a lot, and I really need to figure out what to do about this, and that is like I just need to figure out how to do it, how to deal with this. It's a thing that sort of distresses me a little bit, and that is that when a lot of times when we teach, also why is the music so creepy right now? That's distressing me. I don't feel good about that at all. It's making me uncomfortable. Anyway, look, when we teach survey courses, we often teach people when they are important, right at the time that they're important. And I'm just thinking about the ways in which I don't think that's great, right? And the ways in which that does a disservice to things. Hey, look, I'm going to take this new wool scarf. And I'm also going to drink some water. Normal people retire, 70s to 80s, musicians will perform until they die, which I hope is never. Mm. Um, well, I will tell you how we roll. I will tell you. Rockin' her looking for something to chill, have on. Nice, nice. So this is what I mean, because I've thought about this. I actually I have thought about this probably a little bit too much. So in the history of rock and roll class, I teach Elvis, of course, because you know if you're going to teach history of rock and roll, you got to teach Elvis. But because I'm doing an entire survey. What do we have here? This is not as good. This wool scarf, so we're gonna harvest it. So when I teach Elvis, by the way, I am hosting Exandria University tonight. So if you want to watch Exandria University, sorry, Exandria Unlimited. I always think of it. I'm sorry. I will forever think of that as Exandria University. I know I should not be thinking of it that way, but I do, and that is my bad. It is what it is. Speaking of Reba, she had a new song featured in a movie. Oh, ooh, I will have to put that in Discord for me, will you? Okay, so look, because I've been thinking about this a lot. Look, I've been thinking about this a whole lot. It's been like on my mind. I realize that it doesn't look like we're playing the game, but we're totally playing the game. Just so you know. So look, I was just thinking about how on Twitter there's a bunch of people being like, "Oh, we can't know our history from the so long ago before times because basically all queer people of Generation X died of AIDS, and so there's no way to find out what happened, and we don't teach queer history in high school, so there's like, how can we ever know?" And I was like, hold on. First off, not all Gen X queer people are dead. Like they're just not. Uh, the peak of the AIDS crisis was 1995, and if you were 20 in 1995, that would make you what 30 in '05, 40 in 15. So you'd be like what 46 ish, 40, 45, 46, right? uh I know, right? And right, like interacting with it. Look, I can't be distracted by the game right next to tell you this thing. It's important. Way back in my day, my friends and I were watching this show, and they were talking about how people were getting botched butt injections with rubber cement. Now I'm scared of all plastic surfers. Oh, I mean, a lot of that stuff was black market stuff, right? So look, University of Theater show. I'd love to see their wizard school with a diverse cast. I would love to see their wizard school stuff. That'd be amazing. So this I and at first I was like, first off, like not everybody died, but also uh queer women were not getting HIV at very large rates, and so like a whole bunch of lesbians are still alive from then as well. But also people are not all dead, right? They're just not all dead. Howie Roll says, learning queer history. How could we learn? I will like. What is a book or library, please, Alex? Yeah. I mean, I was not taught queer history in high school because it was illegal, and if I wanted to know, I got a book and then I read the book, right? That's that. So like you can read a book, you can beat you can read a book. But also I was just thinking about this idea that, oh well, they're all dead, so I can't know anything about it. I was like, well, first off, we're not dead. And you would know that if you just talk to me, or any of, like, because we're still here, you can just talk to us, right? There were literate group people in the 80s. And so I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about two things. And one thing I was thinking about is that one other thing that I've noticed amongst this particular group of people is that they do not think it's appropriate to talk to, like, if they're like, if anybody who's older than you tries to talk to you, they're probably a predator and an abuser. Like, so don't talk to people who are older than you, because like there's a whole thing like there's no reason why anybody, in their 30s should talk to somebody in their 20s, because that makes them an abuser and like a predator, and they're sketchy, right? So this is like amongst the younger generation a general distrust of anyone who is quote unquote older talking to them in any way. Is ageism a major issue in the queer community? Yes it is. Is ageism a major issue? Yes it is. Absolutely. um I also feel like a lot of people who survived the age crisis who would just love to talk and shit, they would. um yeah, no, there was like a whole big deal about that, and I was like, well, gosh, I'm a university professor, so I'm probably a bad person because I'm talking to young people. uh yeah, ageism is a huge issue. And I feel like it's an issue generally speaking right now, but like it's certainly a big issue in the queer community. I think, and the thing is, it's any kind of community that frames itself as like being like rebellious, which is not just the queer community, will often have an issue with ageism. So I was thinking about this. This is what I was pondering, right? So when I was 20, I was hanging out with people who were 30 all the time. All the time. I mean, I was in the army. I would, you know what I mean? Like the idea of hanging out with somebody who was 10 years older than I was normal, right? So for me, 10 years earlier was not history. It was the life of my peers and my friends, right? Like, so because
Name game.
oh, the name game, Hrothgar. The name game. Come on, everybody. I say, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name. I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F. Or an M will appear. And then I say bo at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fanner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. And then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. Hrothgar, banana, fanner, for Hrothgar, fee, fi, mum, Hrothgar. Hrothgar, Woo. Yeah, the older punk movement is now all about that prune juice and Matlock. How is that for rebellious? Love it. Uh, Wait. So come to Toronto. I'll just take you to a board game night in the village and be able to find several. Admittedly, they're not accessible to everyone, especially rural folk, but the opportunity is there. Yeah. No. But like, look, this is like an important topic, and I just want to like get this thing in here because I know I have to like get an overview. So I was thinking about how when I was in my 20s, it was not unusual for me to associate with people who were older than me, right? And that was just, you associate with people that are older than you and you learn things, and that's, that was life. It was cool. Lurk. And there is such like, look, I gotta tell you, the millennials are so much like boomers. It is insane to me. Like, I know that they hate the boomers, but they're so similar. It's just like hearing them talk. It's just like hearing boomers talk. They just are like so like intensely in like, it's just, why are you giving me weird music? Why are you doing that, game? Freaking me out. Freaking me out. Hello? Okay, you're not talking to me. So anyway, what I was thinking about was how people don't hate those that are different as intensely as hate those that reflect themselves back at them. You know what, Krellin? I think that's true. Dude, I have friends who are crazy younger than me. I personally like to blame it on my more childish nature, but also people younger than me seem far more mature than I was at that age. And so, like, and the thing is, it was just normal to hang out with people from different age groups. And so many things I wasn't framing as history. Let me see if I can try to make this a little bit more clear what I'm saying. They're talking about the AIDS crisis as if it's history that you can know nothing about. We are just... Here, let me get this for you. Oop, not it. Nope. I don't want to do that. It's fine. Nope. Nope. What was that? What did I do to bring up that? Ooh, nope. Nope. No. I'm pressing buttons. Oh. Hey, I'm learning shortcuts, everybody. No! Don't drop that. Pick it up. Take it. What is this? Yeah, we're not gonna drop these things. Come on now. Take it. Okay. Sorry about that. I was like, what is my button? Is it this one? No? Is it this one? No? Is it this one? No? Is it, nope. You know what? It's fine. Ah! It's Y. It's Y, by the way. Here you go. There we are. We're right there on the map. We made it to the other end of the, what do you call it? The, cave-in that was right over here, right? Because we got hit by the bear. Like, we went to the thing, cave-in, bear, crash, and now we're over here, which means we just have to sort of hit this way to get where we're ultimately going, which is over here. So we have to sort of basically hit north. I figure we investigate this area, then we walk north. Let's see. To be fair, I see that attitude with many ages on many facets of history. Living history is treated as the far past. The far past is ancient and so on. Yeah. When did they stop teaching condom use on bananas? They wouldn't let, my high school wouldn't let us actually put condoms on bananas. They thought that was too explicit. Yeah, I was looking for why. Yeah, don't have. So, yeah, so it was this idea of like, so I was kind of thinking about the sort of the framing of a bunch of things that I don't think are that far away as like really, really past. And I think that that really comes about from not actually people from different age groups, right? That if you do not interact with people who are older than you, if they're not like part of your life, then all of a sudden it feels much farther away than otherwise. Oh, see, I think the thing is, Scabbynack, that it depends because we got into sex absence-only education became like a thing, and they were Like, there are those moments where that becomes like a thing. So anyway, why are you so... Search the glove box. All right, so...
Wonder if this is any good to eat.
Well, we're going to take all those things, and it's going to be great. So, I was thinking, like, history, right? So I was thinking about this idea that... and also, like, in the queer community, queer bars are shutting down. So there are very few queer bars left. So many of them have been... basically have been shut down. So there's not a lot of space for people to meet intergenerationally. There's not a lot of... intergenerational contact, because a lot of the spaces where queer people would congregate are don't exist anymore. I think there's like maybe like 2 lesbian bars in the United States left that are dedicated lesbian bars. Courier says, I feel like it's much worse of a problem nowadays since queer spaces are so heavily online, which biases spaces. Absolutely, 100%. Absolutely. There's like 15 to 22, depending on who you ask, lesbian bars left in the whole... Yeah, there's like very few left. And if we're talking about like dedicated lesbian bars as opposed to like a lesbian night in another bar, like I think it's even a much smaller number. So like it's not... There's not a lot of space for interaction to meet people who are different from yourself. So that's not great. So I've been thinking about that, but here's what I've been thinking about. I've been thinking about this like in teaching. And I teach these big survey classes where you've got to get through, 100 years, 200 years, 1,000 years of music, and you've got a semester to do it. And by the way, this is not where we ultimately need to go, but I thought that we should check out this area and see what's here. We can walk back, but I thought we should see what's happening on this part of the space before we head north, which is where we ultimately need to go. So, I teach survey classes, and there's a thing that's always bugged me a little bit. I was like, I think this is like an error, but it's unfortunate, but I just did it because there was not a lot of way around it. But I really think it's a big problem now, actually. And that is, when you're doing a survey course, I don't do this in my seminars, when you have just one topic and you can go more in depth into it, but I do it for my surveys, and I just need to figure out how to stop. And that is, in our surveys, we tend to... Interesting. We tend to only talk about someone at the height of their fame. So I gotta say, what? Oh gosh, thank you, how we roll. So like I teach how we roll. This may be interesting to you. I don't know. So like I teach in the history of rock and roll. I do teach Elvis Presley, right? Like I teach Elvis because you have to teach Elvis in the history of rock and roll. But when I teach Elvis, I teach Hound Dog. So I teach Elvis in like 55, 56, because that's when he was like the most important, because that's when he had his first big hits. That's when he, that's like the important moment. But Elvis didn't stop making music in 1955. Elvis had his comeback special in 1968, which was, Woodstock, the same year. But I don't know anyone who teaches the history of rock and roll who talks about Elvis in 1968 or Elvis in 1972. Vegas Elvis. They talk about Elvis at the height of it, like when he's most important, and then they just stop talking about him. And I also do that, and mainly it's because when I'm doing 1968, like I don't really have time to do Elvis, because in one class session I get like 6 songs total, and if I'm doing 1968, I'm gonna be doing the Mamas and the Papas, and like basically there's like a bunch of stuff that's new and important in 1968 that are the big innovations in 1968 that I feel like I probably really, really, really have to do. But when we teach that way, we get no continuity. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we feel like, oh, Elvis was from the 50s, and then the Beatles were in the 60s, and then Led Zeppelin's in the 70s, and then like, but everybody only sits within like 2 or 3 years, like, and we never think about them.
Hope nobody needs this anymore.
After those moments. And so it seems as if the way that we sort of put together a survey class, it seems as if time are these discrete elements, right? And that there's no before and after. And that's like a problem, I think. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Do you see what I'm saying? Here, I missed some chat. I'm going to get to the point where I can see what happened with chat, because I don't want to miss it. So all my queer interaction is online, which is actually good for me personally because I'm not out to my mom yet. The anomaly of interacting with people online is where I feel most comfortable. And of course, there's an entire group of people for whom their interactions with queerness is only online. The only problem is that that allows people to get really weird about what does and what doesn't count, and people stop being very human to each other. And then all of a sudden, people are like, that doesn't count. And I was like, oh, things are a lot more complicated. Now, of course, I know I could, Margot, I could definitely just teach a course on Elvis, but that course on Elvis would be a specialized seminar, not a big survey. And so that's a bit of a problem. Ice Bunny says, it in ninth or was it eighth grade, we were brought to the German version of Sex and Society, and we were sat down and told how to use condoms. And for little Ace me, it was tomato time. It must have been ninth because my bullies were as embarrassed as I. And I think that was after I smacked my backpack over one of the monkeys. Scareback says, yeah, I got so much U.S. history in school. We just covered the same information on the same handful of topics. Um, uh, yes. So it's yeah. Um, so I just got a question. Um, right. So people whose only interaction with the queer community is online need to keep that perspective in mind. But so often these are also younger people, and when you're younger, perspective is challenging. I suppose yeah, I suppose. I mean, yeah. I wonder if it would be worth teaching a survey of the big name musicians outside of the time period that other classes focus on as a separate class. Maybe. You get this, Howie Roll says, you get the same effect with regular history. Yes. People don't equate Lincoln and the Wild West the same period. Yes, 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 right? Yes. Howie Roll, this is what I'm talking about. And it's not just it's in, yes. And I actually think this is a problem. I think that the fact that we end up teaching because it's just a little bit easier in these sort of discrete chunks that are not connected to each other means that we end up we don't get the connectors, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, uh, I think that I think it's important for people to remember that Reba McEntire is still touring. That like Aretha Franklin put out new music. She didn't. Aretha Franklin does not exist only in the 1960s and then we're done. Like she's still around and she still has fans. I think that I think that remembering that people existed and were making music before they became famous and that they continued making music after the music industry was less interested in them, and the same thing with art, the same thing with history. I think I think it might be important politically to do that. I just have to figure out logistically how to do that in a survey course because survey courses cover a lot and it's really difficult to figure out how to sort of put that in there. One moment. One moment. There's a hold on a second. There's an emergency thing that's just come in. I have to read this message. Wait, people aren't frozen time? No, not at all. Hello, Chromatic. I also feel like I'm just okay with everyone, regardless of any sort of orientation. I just love people, guy, girl, non-binary, whatever. I'm much more interested in what's inside. Aw, Granny. This is uh one. What is that? That's what. Tomorrow is Friday. Hold us. What am I doing Friday? Friday, I have got. What's my life Friday? Friday is what's people. What's happening Friday? What's happening Friday? So that's like 4 to. Uh, uh, Hold on. There's a bit of an emergency request, and I know we're doing this right on stream, uh, right now. But hold on. Um, Give me a second. Rebecca Black's Friday. Yeah, just talk with the guys at FedEx medical office guys, and as long as I image them, uh, oh, good, 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 good. I just like when people have the language just as they are. It's so nice. Yes, as long as they don't do it in a way that devalues other people. That's like the big deal for me. Like, just don't devalue other people would be my request, right? That's my request. Um, yeah, Colas is on hiatus. Trooper, you have to remember, Gritty is a jar filled with eyeballs. Oh, I know. Wait, what's inside? Maybe another collection. Oh. Hello, CR Clary. How are you? Um, I don't. I need to talk to somebody on Zoom tomorrow. A Zoom meeting. Uh, all right. I'm just saying that I can do this thing tomorrow. Um, but I'm on stream. Okay, good. Right now, and they hear me messaging you, but they don't know who I'm messaging. I do have to. I do have to pack my stuff. Okay, good. All right, we're here, back. Yes. Um, is this Friday thing packing more? I do need to. I have a Zoom meeting and I need to do packing more. 100% get where you're going. We put them in our box. Country music was only in the 90s with Garth Brooks. Old whole script was in the 80s with Run. Yes, I like how hip hop evolution makes the story unfold and links. Yeah. And thank you, How We Roll. And one of the things I think about is that when you're doing like a history, a hip hop class, like then it's a little bit easier. But I think about, for example, if we're going to teach a history of hip hop class, Queen Latifah was making albums in the aughts. Do we still do those albums, or do we only do Queen Latifah when she's doing Ladies First, right? And I think that we do a disservice to ourselves. What is happening right now? Stand up. I think we do a disservice if we only look at artists in that one moment, because it doesn't teach us to look at things as a flow. Do you see what I'm saying? Like as a flow. Oh, you're right. I'm not showing the game stream. There you go. Like I would like to see what would happen if we could look at history more. I got it. Thank you. More, in more as a flow, where we can see the ways in which. First off, by the way, hold on. Broken bridge. Do you think I can exit the screen this way? I don't know if I can. Or it's broken, so probably not. Right? Time is not discrete points. Exactly, Ambara Garwin. If I ever devalue another human in this chat, please tell me. I would much rather have brutal honesty than have people be nice for the sake of being nice. Professional streamer, yes. Not that they are hip hop, but look at examples like the Moody Blues. Yes, they've had hits for handfuls of decades. Absolutely. Absolutely. The survey class should have been called The Flow of Music or Great Music Trends. I try to avoid the term great because it's too loaded for me. Like, great for whom? What do we, like, I try to avoid great. I try to avoid it. History of hip hop, so Run DMC, Wu-Tang, Summer Stock, No Choice, B.I.G. I mean, well, if we're gonna do the history of hip hop, I mean, I do ooh, hello. Hey, look at this. If I fell off, I would die. So let's not do that. Like, I just know that there would be death. So I'm going to, I'm going to drink some water, because that's great. I'm going to just, now that we've done a little bit of exploring, we're going to walk upwards. So Hip Hop Evolution is a documentary that does its best to flow through timeline to disc jockeys through 2000 beyond. Yeah. But of course, the thing I always think about is that we tend to just leave people when they're not in the center of their spot, right? So there are a lot of these hip hop artists from the 70s, and we just stopped talking about them. But they're still around, you know? So you won't die, you'll discover gravity, and then you'll die. Oh, that's fair. Ooh, cheese. My cheese is great. Wait, grated. My cheese is grated. My bad. Oh, I love cheese. What do you... People, I'm super interested in exploring random parts of this map, but I'm not gonna do it. We're gonna be responsible. Drop great, but it seems to be like the flow of music, not genre or artist. I might be encumbered a little bit. I'm just trying to like eat food as a way to like lessen my encumbrance just a little bit. Just, you know, like, hey, look, I'm eating food, so I'm less encumbered. Because as I eat food, then also it disturbs me that Grinny knows that I'm encumbered just by the sound of me walking. Like that's worrisome. Live your Shackleton Explorer life. And the thing is, yeah, so like I just want to figure out ways to talk about how people like. Okay, so for example, when I teach queer pop, I talk about the Indigo Girls in their moment, which is like the 90s, like the late 80s, early 90s. Basically, I teach them as part of the lecture on post-women's music. So, like, you have women's music, the 70s, and then you teach post-women's music, which is, you know, the Indigo Girls, Tracy Chapman, Michelle Shocked, Suzanne Vega. Right, there's like a whole, Katie Lang, Melissa Etheridge, there's a whole crop from that moment you teach them. But, like, the Indigo Girls are more than just close to fine. They have done some really fascinating stuff after, right? And I don't teach those things because after I'm doing something different. And that happens all the time, and I think that that's probably super unhealthy, actually. Oh, yeah, guess what, everybody? I don't have a sleeping role, so I'm in a bad way because I don't have a place to sleep. Because I left my sleeping role probably in that cabin with the forge. That's probably where I left it, and so I'm probably going to die of no sleep. I just thought I'd share that with you. It's even worse because I've never played this game and I still do uncover Grinny. Chromatic. Oh, Chromatic, what did you say? What'd you say? On a Friday or Saturday or okay, adulting is not allowed to do that. Yeah, so I just I hope we can find another sleeping role because look at this. I'm currently 15 pounds overweight. That is true. But I have things that I need, and once I start a fire, I will have fewer of those things. Like that's, you know, like I mean, you know, like it's gonna be great once I, you know. No, Grinny, I couldn't find one. I still don't have one. I'm hoping that we haven't been to a place where there might be a sleeping role that I can pick up. But I'm hoping soon. Are you familiar with the version of Jesus Christ? Yeah, they were in Jesus Christ Superstar, right? Like, that's so cool. So anyway, I'm really trying to figure out how I can incorporate, like, in a survey class. You know, I need to find a place for the bed. I have an idea. And this is sort of a cheat, but it might work. It might work. And hold on. I was just asked if people can pass on my info. I like how my character is clearly so tired that they want to go and rest. Please do. And I already worked for them, so I'm in their system. Okay. Good. Oop, wrong direction. Oop, there we go. One would think the Indigo Girls would be in purchase of the Code of Many Colors. Look, I'm a little encumbered. Whatever. It's just like, not a lot of, like, I'm just like, look, I have to start fires, and then when I start fires, I'm going to use all that wood, and it's going to be great. And nobody's going to be bothered. Like, it's going to be fine. And yes, I'm going to pick up a bedroll, and then I'll have more encumbrance. But, that's all I'm saying. So I had this idea that I was thinking that I could do. And I think it could be cool. It's kind of a cheat because it is a survey, but it's not a survey. Hello. Hello, little place. Also, do you notice how he's huffing and puffing all the time as if, like, I make him work so hard? All he does is complain. And then you'll get more wood. All right, Howie Roll, go to sleep. Go to sleep. Thank you for hanging out with us. It is much appreciated. Thank you. So, also, what are we looking at here? All right. It'd be sooner if you weren't 50 pounds over encumbered. Don't bring logic to this. Sleep well. So, here's what I'm thinking. This is my thought about how to solve this problem. Hello, little place, New York. That's basically for 1K. Coldrake, you're correct. Now, this may not solve the problem. Okay, so there would be other problems with this idea. And I don't quite know. There would be other problems with this idea. I'm still working this out. This is a bit of a thing. So I teach the history of rock and roll, which I need to rename that title. I don't like the title. I think the title's terrible, and I don't like it. Just so you know, I want to change it to American Popular Music from 1945 to the present. But and I really wish that class were the entire century, but I don't have time. So what if, and here's the trouble. Here's the trouble with this. This is the trouble. I'd have to be really strategic about this. So what if I did decades? You know what I mean? What if rather than the history of rock and roll or American popular music from 1945 to the present, what if I did the 70s, the 60s, right? Did you ever just walk to one of those houses and sleep in their beds? I don't need to sleep yet because I'm currently well rested because I was knocked unconscious for a little bit. So I feel like I'm, I'm okay at the moment. It's just that I won't be okay soon. That's all. We're just checking out this thing. So here's the thing about, hey, Anino! Hello! How are you, Anino? Anino! I miss you. I just thought I'd share that feeling that I miss you. So, I feel like doing a class on decades would be really good because if you just do one decade, then you can really get in depth and that's really interesting.
What we hear.
What we have is more weight for me to carry. Oh, I would love to, but I'm going to be in Atlanta. Hello, Valtiel. How are you? Valtiel. It's empty. Yeah. Ooh, hey, look. Granola bar.
Hope I can still eat this.
Then you would have all the mini boos cry when they figure out the 60s is more than yeah, but see the things would be really interesting, I think, right, to do the I know I am picking up more things. I get that. I do see that this is what's happening, is me picking up more things, but I'm gonna use it soon. Like I'm gonna have to start a fire at some point and then boom, I've just dropped all those things. You pick a decade, you would still have the premise with it. Here is where insert music grew out of, and this is decade introduced, which becomes a spring for next decade. Yeah, totally, right? You'd so when you do the decade, you have to lead into and then lead out of it. You can certainly do that. I would look at the key monuments when music changes. Yeah, but of course the problem. So here's the problem with doing it by the decades. Like the decades would work. I think you could do very cool things with the decades. The only problem with the decades is that, how do I put this? Many times students are only interested in some decades and not others. So if I did a 60s class, I definitely would get students in that 60s class. If I did a 1930s class, I probably wouldn't, right? Because people would be less interested in the 1930s than they are the 1960s. So that's a bit of a problem. So it becomes, and people need to know the 30s too, right? So in a survey, although currently I'm not doing the 30s because I start in the 1940s and that's the worst. But the good thing about a survey is that you get students to get introduced to musical time periods they're not automatically drawn to when you're sort of doing larger chunks of time. So that's an issue. That's an issue. Everything's edible. Some things are just only edible once. You would get the mega nerds in the 30s class only. Not great for a survey class. The 60s had such change in music styles, folk, and that change in folk, Vietnam, groups that went from mellow to the Beatles, yeah. It might be interesting to make a graphic show and then tapering off on a musicians outside their known eras. Oh, Bart Garwin, that would actually be really interesting. That would be interesting. Why would anyone say the 1930s? There's absolutely nothing major happening during the 1930s. Right? The 30s are super interesting. Ooh, hey, orange soda.
Excellent.
Is it a matter of marketing? Like, so the 30s had class on music spanning the two world wars? Yeah, I think maybe what might be better, that rather than doing one decade, doing groups of decades, right? Because then you could be strategic about it. So, for example, if rather than the 60s, if I did like the 40s, 50s, and 60s as one chunk, I could do the teens, 20s, and 30s. Teens, 20s, 30s. Although I bet I could probably, I could probably cheat and go the 1890s to the 1930s, because that's, I could probably hit the 1890s to the 1930s. And then I could do 40s, 50s, 60s. Then I could do 70s, 80s, 90s. And then aughts, teens, and 20s. Right? Like, I feel like that would work, right? Yeah, Kuldrick, I think that would be really interesting, yeah. Please tell me that last says it is not 80s, 90s, and now. No. Scabbynack, I reject that because I reject it. I love music from the 20s and 30s and also 70s and 80s. Benny Goodman. Yeah, so basically I'm thinking group it in about 30-year intervals, right? So this is what I'm thinking. If I change the class to group it into 30-year intervals, right? That could be a way, because here's the thing. 1890s to the 1930s get you the 1920s, and people think the 1920s is sexy, so you can get people to take that class because people think the 20s are sexy. People will take the 40s, 50s, 60s because they think the 60s are sexy. They're going to take 70s, 80s, 90s because they're into the 90s. And so that's fine. And then like the contemporary one, I feel like that might be the way to go. So I'm thinking, oh, I'm totally going to check out those buildings. I just wanted to get everything outside of the buildings first, you know? Just a little outside the building first. And now let me eat more stalks. This is me just getting rid of weight on my person. Just, you know, just getting rid of some weight so that I'm carrying less weight and being responsible. Separate them into gen groups. Yeah, into Boston Crocodile, Amnil, la la la. I don't want to write that all text. Oh yeah, the community harmonists are very saucy, because that's the Weimar era was a super saucy era. Yes, so I'm thinking this is my thought but now I've got to tell you the other problem with this thought. I always thought it was more interesting how the late 60s and 70s had more gold platinum memorable songs, or seemed to me. Kuldrick, do you want to know something really interesting about perception versus reality? How about this for interestingness? No, wait, where am I at? Okay, I'm working it. Hey, look, there's some things out here. Okay, so this I think is super interesting. Kuldrick, you'll find this really fascinating. I think you'll find it fascinating. Maybe you won't, but I think you will. And it is this. So, wait, what is this? Wait, what is this? They hate the light. They hate the light. Who's they? What are we talking about? This seems very sketchy. What's going on? I love you. Even when you told me the music I love, you hate. Wait. Are you I don't hate any music. There's no music I hate. There's no music I hate. There's some music that I like less than others. Like the big one is basically metal, because like everybody loves metal. Well, not everybody loves metal. A lot of people love metal. Metal's like very big on the Twitter people love the metal. I'm not super big on metal, but there's no music I hate really. I hope that's paint. I hope that's paint. That would be my my hope. Hello, Crumpled Note. Uh, a lot of people don't like metal, but I feel like on Twitter, metal's quite popular. Um, yeah, it's not my favorite. It's okay. It's okay. It's all right. Nope, I never got into metal or heavy metal. So, which music that you love that you think that I hate? I need to know. Um, I need a bedroll is what I need. That's what I need. Also, I don't need to sleep right now because I slept when I was unconscious from that bear attack, so I'm fine. Uh, I don't like pure metal. Mongol metal's film. The only music I'd come close to hating is Opera Ski, Mallorca Schlager. I don't think I've been qualified as Twitter people. Yeah, I don't. There's not much I dislike, to be honest. Um, oh, it's getting dark. Also, am I frozen? I feel like I'm frozen. Am I? Maybe I'm not. I feel like I'm frozen. There may be. I seem to recall discussion about Holtz the Planets and Tomato's version of electronic. I don't dislike Holtz the Planets or electronic versions of planets. No, no. I think the only thing. Okay. Oh no, the game's not moving. I've not moved anything on the game yet. No, I don't dislike Holst. I think the only thing I would have talked about is about the interesting way in which people people give me a second over here. I'm suspicious of something. I want to reload my Twitch screen because it's freaking me out. Okay, there we go. Oh yeah, good. I'm working. Also, it's getting dark in here. Um, that's all. Yeah, no, I would have talked about the ways in which everybody wants Mars in their movie as their movie score, but nobody wants to pay Holst, so they get composers to basically like make fake Mars. Um, is Ein kleiner grüner Cactus about having some hot sexy time, and that is the reason why the plant? No, I don't think it is. I think that Ein kleiner grüner Cactus is actually about whimsy, which is sort of like also politically important. Um, but some of the classical composers that I thought were good, which some critics feel seem to feel are not good. Uh, yeah. So thanks, Valtiel. It's actually what's cool about it is that I can change the color. It's where's my here it is. Right, so like I can change it, right, to make it more blue. Right, I can make it more blue. I can head it towards like a green, right? Ooh, so I can get like all different, like there it's all green. I can get it, I can move it towards yellow. Yeah, it's like a fancy color shifting light bulb. I can get all yellow style on it. Right. Um, uh, every musical genre has its place in its audience. I'm just not the audience for some of it. Yeah. Okay. So the red. So what I was gonna say.
Come on to my house.
Rabbit Ray, thank you for the host. Come on to my house, come on. Come on to my house, come on. Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you candy. Come on to my house, I'm gonna give you everything. Boop ba doop ba doop boop boop ba doop ba doop boop boop ba doop ba doop boop ba doop ba doop ba doop. Yay! That's what I'm gonna say there. Thank you for the raid, Rabbit Ray. Rabbit Ray, what were you streaming? What were you streaming before you? What were you doing? What was going on? How was it? How was your stream? What is the word? What is going on? That's what I want to know. Color lamp therapy. Medieval Dynasty. Wait, I need to know more about Medieval Dynasty. Tell me more about it. Also, I really feel like that's weird. Here, hold on. For some reason, oh, you know what? I think it might just be Twitch being weird. I feel like it is. I'm gonna just do that, and I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna do this. Whoop. Here we go. So that I can. Oops. Come here. So I don't even have to worry about it. I'm getting rid of the Twitch screen. So if things are weird, you just have to let me know. That's it. Just let me know, and then we'll be good. Yes. What is medieval dynasty? Bird is the word. Bird's the word. Have you heard about the word bird? Everybody knows that the bird is the word. Bird's the word. I will tell you what the note says. Let's see, which is being weird, I know. MD is a light survival game that focuses on building a village. You eventually marry and have an heir. Oh. I was going to tell you something, but I'll see this crumpled note. Months without pay. Making us deal with those forest crazies. Now they're sending me after them? I've had it. After this trip, I'm done. No matter what, if you're coming to help, meet me on the far side of Mystery Lake, near the summer cabins. We'll start there. Either we... Oh. What do you think? What do you think that's about? Let's take it. I don't know who the forest crazies are, but this seems questionable, right? Yes. So, right, Coldrake. Now I remember what I was going to say. Coldrake. When I was telling you about the composers that you like that are not considered good, those aren't not my opinions. I'm telling you how musicology as a field, like there are a lot of people that like, I mean, when I was,
Thank goodness.
ooh, nice. When I went to study music history as an undergraduate, I learned very quickly that although I didn't listen to a lot of classical music growing up, the stuff that I did like was considered not classy. It was considered trashy and not good classical music. And I didn't know that because I didn't... yeah, that conversation was not about my personal feelings.
That'll come in handy.
Ooh, sweet. But about the ways in which the field sort of judges some classical music as better than other classical music. And, you know, that. Hey, by the way, we have got, I could probably, like...
That'll come in handy.
I could make a fire here. I'm not going to do that right now because I don't necessarily need to, but, right. Also Reba, I love Reba. Tough. Yeah. Reba's the best.
Could
Reba's
end
the
up being
best.
useful.
I know it sounds like something Forrest Crazy would say. Trashy classical music was not a phrase I expected to hear today. Oh yeah, no, it's they're super, like there's all this judgment what is considered trashy and what is not considered trashy when it comes to classical music, and I find those things I find it very interesting what things count as trashy and what things don't count as trashy, because I feel like it's super sketch. All right, my friends, I'm getting tired. Okay, Grinny. So I'm going to shove off for the night. Thank you, Trooper, for the intro conversations. Thank you. What makes it trashy? Oh. What makes it trashy? I actually have an answer for that question. Also, you know what we're going to do? We're going to... Maybe we can do this. Maybe this will give me more light. I feel like that's going to give me more light. I can't... Yeah, all right. I think trashy classical is the interior style of my mom's sitting room. Reba's good, but best she's no T-Swift. I see you, Hrothgar. Oh, I'm sure. Who's not a Reba fan? Being not, see, Krell's like being non-German makes it trashy. There are a couple things that will make it trashy. Being non-German is certainly one of those things. Although if you're French or Italian, depending, you might be able to get away with it. Putting stuff on shelves.
Hope nobody needs this anymore.
What do you putting stuff on shelves? That's so outrageous. That's like, I don't even know. Dot! Hello, Dot. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Oh, you know, Dot is going to be in a show tonight that's going to be starting at 1 in the morning. Is that right? 1 in the morning? Right? Doesn't it start at 10 Pacific? Yes? Austria's most... Yeah. Is... no, Austrian counts as German. Well, here's the thing. It's really tricky because there are a couple things going on in this situation. So one is class. If working class people liked the classical music, it probably is going to be considered trashy. So that's one thing. So there's like a class situation where things that were too popular, things that were too popular, that were considered sellout. So actually, okay, so this is the thing. If the classical music was too popular, then it's considered trashy. So that's one thing already. And I would accept Shania, but T Swift is bae. I have EDM, Backstreet Boys, Nightwish, and Ivan Torrent in the same playlist. All Italian Revenge. Yeah, so basically, when it comes to Italian opera, Verdi is okay because Verdi is considered the most German of Italian composers. When it comes to French music, what's his face? Berlioz is okay because he's considered the most German of French composers. So Berlioz and Verdi, all right. Germans are okay, but things like Carmina Burana is considered trashy because it's too popular. Danse Macabre, that's considered too trashy because that's popular. Bolero, Ravel, Bolero, too trashy, too popular. Yeah, basically, Vivaldi's iffy because some people think Vivaldi's a little bit too popular, so that's trashy too. Yeah, so I'm just telling you that it's really weird. It's really, really weird. Like Rossini's too trashy because he's too popular. And he's like, that sounds rather hipster. Oh, yes, it does. Oh, yes, it does. It also depends on, like, who the performer is sometimes, too. I love Bach, Tomita, Tubular Bells, Moody Blues, Yellow, Uptown Funk. Klingons wish they had the amount of death and revenge in Italian revenge opera. Mm-hmm. Iceman said, I had a class in Folks High School where we showed up at our teacher's living room and a ton of old music, and I found out the opera is driving me nuts because I cannot understand the words they sing. And that is the same with metal. If I have to read to get it, it's not my cuppa. But if people like the music, then I suspect the critic is being elite just to keep their nose up to catch rain. Well, that's the thing, right? Because there's a lot of thought and look, hipsters do the same thing, right? I mean, why do people say that popular music is bad? Because it's too popular, right? People say this all the time about T Swift, Britney Spears, Katy Perry, lots of other women, more women who are in the pop genre. They're just not as good as like punk rock or things that are just less popular, right? So like the more popular it is, the less good it is. That is a common and popular thing that people like to say all the time. And classical music also does that. There's like, they also will do that sometimes, which is just like ridiculous. So we're saying these critics are archaeo hipsters. Yes, Valtiel, yes we are. That's interesting, but some of my favorite music is another language or really hard to understand. Yeah, hey Hawthorne Stone. Pop music isn't authentic like the punk band that I like that sells out stadiums. Yeah, because it's not like they also don't sell really well, but whatever. And like I remember, okay, so I'm going to tell you the story. But first, no, I have to tell you something else first. Don't let me forget the story about my class and Rossini. Don't let me forget about Rossini. But I have to tell you something else first. I'm going to read this and then I'll tell you. Aurora observations. Those lights in the sky are doing some funny things to the machines around here. We found this old shed, and the computers started turning on by themselves. Lamps lighting up. We've been trying to call down to the main office when the Aurora, or whatever it's called, is out, but we're not getting through. Can't tell if the phones even work. There are just a handful of us from the winter crew holed up here. Some of them want to try for the coast and the settlements there. If you find this, that's where we've gone. We're still hoping Breyer House sends a team up before it comes to that. Even with the fire barrel we brought indoors, it's a bitter cold. Why am I at 56 pounds? It's an interesting question. I wonder why I'm at 56 pounds. That seems like a lot of pounds. I'm sure it'll be fine, right? It'll be fine.
Excellent.
Green Day is bad punk, but Turnell Issenkamp, I'm sure you've never heard of them, is amazing punk. Mm-hmm. Listen to music critics as much as I listen to movie critics. They're not allowed to enjoy anything. They're critics. It's kind of their job to be critical. Although, that's not true because they have to like certain things, right? Like they need to be, they have to like certain things, right? Because they have to gush about various people, Oscars and whatnot, right? There's like a whole space for that.
Hope I can still eat this.
I hope you can still eat it too. So here's what's what, y'all. What time is it? In the game, not in real life. Well, it's not dark yet. So I feel like we can hang out a little bit longer and, you know, just like hang out a little bit longer, explore a little bit more in the area before we come back and go to bed. Even though, again, I'm gonna note that we don't have. Maybe I should, like, I could put some things in here. Maybe. But they are singing to a punk tune decades later. Rope is heavy it is. Well, we do clink around like a one-man band when we walk. It could be. It could be. I'm not. No. Oh, hey. Like, what if I need these things? Hey, look at all this. It's the maintenance shed. Well, that's interesting. So look, I don't feel like there's anything that's going to kill us in the maintenance shed, and I feel like I'm not going to break any ankles. So I'm just going to walk around, you know, in the maintenance shed slowly. Okay, look. All right, hold on. I'll go back. I'm going to put things in that locker. I'm going to put things in the locker so that I'm carrying fewer things. And then it'll be fine. Right? Because we might pick up more things in the maintenance shed. So I'm going to just put... Can I break his legs just by picking up too much? Maybe. Hey, look, there's socks. Let's pick up those. I'm gonna just pick up the socks. It's fine. Oh my goodness. Wait. Icebeam says, Hawthorne, a dyslexic that explains the reading. It is this thing when they sing and or other extreme long and go up and down singing that I don't know. Probably melisma. Probably. Picks up a John Deere tractor. Why am I over encumbered? I don't know. Okay. I don't like the sound of the wind either. So let's try to. Oop, that wasn't it. We're gonna put some things down. We're gonna put the rope in there. We're gonna keep the rifle. Look at all this really great firewood that we're gonna drop down. I feel like we'll drop all the cured leather. We're gonna pick it back up though. Don't let me forget it because I might need it for later. For heaven's sakes. Look, you never know when you need a good pair of socks. I know, right? Wool socks, they're great. We're gonna just, we're gonna drop a lot of our wood off. I'm very concerned about not having wood or papers. Like, this is very worrisome to me, but we're gonna just put some, don't forget the cured. Oh, I put the cured leather away. I feel like that's good. I just want you to know how worried I am about losing all of my wood. Like, I feel like I don't have any wood left, and this worries me. Oh, what is this? Cloth. I'm gonna keep the cloth. Okay. All right. So, we're going to keep our meat, and we're going to put the newsprint away, the green maple sapling, that's fine, the stone, okay, so I'm down to 39 pounds. I feel like that's really good, right? I feel like that's super excellent. I feel like I'm like a superstar. Every time we talk about wood, my mind goes to some very gray zones. You know, I'm just, look, am I trolling you all? I am not. Am I perhaps? No, I'm not. There's no trolling going on whatsoever. Okay, what is this? Revolver shell casing. Why do I have a revolver shell casing? That's interesting. Huh. Okay, look, I'm down to 39 pounds. I dropped almost 20 pounds worth of stuff. Almost all of it things I'm going to need to light a fire. I feel like that's good. I feel like you should all be proud of me and be proud of me. That's what I feel like. That's my. Do I need all those flares? Probably. I might need them for later. Are you saying I don't need all of them, that I can put some of them away? Well, but I also feel like they probably don't weigh a lot. Okay, so I'm gonna put away some of the flares. Not all of the flares. I'm gonna keep 2 flares. So, okay. Now I have kept some of the flares. That's all. This is it. Thank you, Werewolf Feels. And why is that done? I don't think the royals at Mozart's can understand all. Ice Bunny. That's quite understandable. Personally, I'm just really used to not understanding the words said around me. My first language is English, so I lived in another country for a while. So there are a couple things to think about this, Ice Bunny. I don't have a can of spray paint. I wish I did. I've never not seen knowing the lyrics as a barrier to enjoying the music. Lyrics may rank quite low in importance. Oh, definitely. But also I would point out that in opera, there are 2... Huh. Interesting. I still clink, but a lot less. Fascinating. I wonder why. I clink less. That's weird. So, Ice Bunny, what you should know is that in opera there are 2 different there are 2 different musical moments in opera. You have your aria or your duets, trios, that kind of thing. And then you have your recitative. And the recitative is when they're basically advancing plot. And when you're in recitative, you can understand what they're saying because the singing style is much more like speaking. So it's more like, and then I'm walking down the street, and what did I see? I see a person over there. So like when they're doing their recitative, it's actually quite understandable. It's when they do their arias when it becomes less understandable. However, when they're doing their arias, there are not a lot of lyrics because the arias are where they go and sort of talk about their feelings. And so there's a lot of vocal, like it's usually like 1 line or 2 lines, but then embellished. So you've got only a couple of lines, which and it's like, oh, but I hate you, said over and over again, but in a lot of really different and more exciting and impressive ways. So part of the point of the opera is to sing impressively and have people be like impressed by the great melody, the beautiful sound, the skill of the performer. You don't tend to have the plot being advanced in your aria. And usually when there are really important words and lines, those lines are said differently so that they are more intelligible. Wait. Yes. Sometimes I wonder how popular Bach, Beethoven, or Schubert, etc. when the new tune was printed, or how much became. They were. Well, it depends. Yeah, right. So Miss Money, it's about the flexing of your vocal ranges. It's about skill. It's about impressiveness. And as for the question of Bach, Beethoven, or Schubert, you have to know that Schubert is not considered as good as Beethoven, because I love Schubert personally, but Schubert, is considered too pretty, so not as good. Right, just gonna sort of put that out there. Bach is tricky because Bach is operating on a different structure. Another point is that opera is especially context-based. It's easy to miss out, meaning if you don't see the performance. Yes, right, it's supposed to be meant, you're supposed to watch it. Like, you're supposed to watch the performance live. And then if you watch the performance live, you get a lot of what's happening because they're up there in your face performing these things. And
Thank goodness.
And often people already know the stories for the opera too. Like, you already know what the story is, and then you go and you watch it. And then oftentimes back then, people would watch the same opera over and over and over again because they did not have television. So they would like go and watch the opera, and they'd go every weekend. They'd see the same opera for a while, and they'd have like they were huge fans of various performers, and they would say, "Oh my gosh, this performer's so great! Sing the aria again!" And they'd cheer in the middle of the thing, and or they'd throw tomatoes because they were mad. You know, there's a lot of different. It was a much more lively sort of situation back then. Historically, there are more and less understandable operas. So well, then it was not helping that the whole opera we saw was in Italian with Czech subtitles in Prague. Well, yes. So even ours in different styles of opera have more or less. Yep. And also, Ice Bunny, oftentimes what happens is that people will go and read up on the plot before they go to the opera. Oh, hello, cup of tea. How are you doing? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just
have this than leave it behind.
I'm just going to drink it. You know, I'm just going to drink this cup of tea. I don't know what it does for me, but oh, look at that. Improved rest. That's nice. And I'm going to rest pretty soon. I realize it looks like I'm picking up a lot of things right now. I feel like that is not even really true. I'm just, you know, just picking up things. This is how opera singers got a decent meal, depending on what... Yes. Yeah, right? So, and also...
Wonder if this is any good to eat.
Did you hear something weird? Also, opera was very competitive. People would have their... Like, there would be fights in the audience between fans of one singer and fans of another singer. Like, people would have riots sometimes. Like, opera was a big deal. And it was, you know, fun and exuberant, and people had a great time until Wagner came and ruined it, because Wagner doesn't like fun. That's, you know, yeah, we've got so much room in our pockets. Also, it's getting dark. Oh, hey, look at this. It is a bed, but not a bedroll. Whatever. I just want a bedroll. That's all I want. The game is dark because it's getting dark in here, right? And so it's harder to see what's going on. I could here's the thing. I could pick up my lantern, but I don't think I will. I think I will not, because I think that I'm gonna go and sleep as it's getting dark, because it's getting darker, which means I think if I go in the day, it'll be light, so I don't have to use my, what do you call it? I don't have to use my light source with my fuel, because, you know, that's a, you know, it's a big deal. I don't have, like, what do you call it? Here we go. I don't have fuel for days.
It's dusk, so night can't be far behind.
Yes, because that's the thing. I don't want to go and like spend all of my fuel right now when I don't absolutely need it, when I might need it later. So let's take some of this wood. Let's do that, and then let's take some stacks of papers. And let's take some sticks. So we're gonna start a fire, everybody. That's what we're gonna do. And then there we go. It's a hard fantasy game. Wagner, ladies with metal bikinis, according to Bugs Bunny cartoons. Koldrick, I still wanted to tell you something. The ring tickets are expensive. Oh yeah, they are. They have to look at stunning in 7 outfits, because it's not all. There are 4. Yeah, and they're afraid of... Okay, so we're going to go and start this fire. And then we're going to... Also, who are they talking about? Do you feel bad? Like, do you feel like this is like a bad situation? Because I do. Like, I feel like this is bad. All right, let's start a fire. And we've got a stick of cardboard matches. Yeah, I'm feeling good about it. Let's use a little accelerant. I feel like we don't need to. We're going to just start this fire. But we didn't start the fire. It was always burning since the world's been turning. That's all I'm saying. Q scares. I know I'm a little bit worried about that. What I find interesting is that the opera audience in Germany is often a little stuffy. Oops. And put emphasis on Werktreue, faithfulness to the original. But historically, most operas weren't closed oeuvres. Yeah, a lot of time the star singer just in certain art. Oh, yeah. That's the thing, that we have turned classical music into something that it never was. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've made it this really stuffy thing.
Come on.
But it wasn't that originally. It was something much more alive. Yeah. It was basically, Wagner was one of the people who really changed opera a lot. He was the first person to bring down the house lights, right? So that the lights are dark. Great. Let me add fuel. Let's add that. And then let's add some cedar firewood. And feeling pretty great about that. And I'm going to eat some food. Let's eat, oh, you know what I can do? I might be able to cook something. Like, even if I cook something, I might be able to cook, like these, like, beans. You know what I mean? Like, I can cook some peaches, maybe. Hot peaches. People like hot peaches. Who doesn't like hot peaches? And so, like, Wagner sort of, like, had this whole idea of, like, the Gesamtkunstwerk, right? This, like, the whole grand thing. And, like, you have to sort of treat opera like it's a church, and you have to be very serious about it, when before people were doing very different things. So he really helped change opera quite a lot. And, right, so he's a big deal. Like, it maybe not the best way, but, what I'd say is, yeah, like, opera was a very, alive and interesting sort of medium, and very popular with a lot of people for a very long time, and then it was sort of taken away and made something that it wasn't. The same thing with a lot of things, right? Like, yeah. The orchestra pit was an invention in the 19th century. Turning down the lights in the house was an invention. Like, there's a lot of things where, and actually also Wagner also was, like, hiding the orchestra at the pit, which the thing about the pit is that it hides the orchestra from the audience. The audience can't see them, so it just seems like the music is coming out of nowhere. He did a whole bunch of stuff to change, let's eat this, to change what opera looked and felt like. Right now, we're gonna go to bed. And we're gonna sleep for like 9 hours. And it's gonna be great. And we're gonna wake up well rested, and I hope no one murders us while we're sleeping. Yeah, der mystische Abgrund. Like, oh, Wagner. Wagner, like, was whatever he was. He was a lot of things. It's what he was. Also, it looks really dark out, doesn't it? I feel like we need to sleep a little bit longer. Let's sleep, like, 3 hours. Yeah. That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna sleep for another 3 hours. And hopefully when we wake up, it will be light out. And the world will... Yeah, look at that. It looks like the day is dawning. We're absolutely... we need to eat some food. Let's eat some nothing too big. Let's eat like oh, I don't know. This. Let's eat this energy bar. We probably didn't need the energy bar. Oh my gosh. I will save. Will saves. Huh. Let's drink this can of soda. And then we will drink water. And then you will all be proud of me for not having huge stuff on my person. The audiences from Schleswig-Holstein Music Festival were complaining that the flower decoration was covering the orchestra's feet, and then they had to find a new way, and other things that the festival had to go contemporary to make it an event. This game is the one with the premise of a plane crash. Yes, that's right. That's right. That is absolutely right. Have I heard of Adolf Appia? I know Appia. I don't know if it's the same one. Tell me more. Or in this case, how much could I carry that break both ankles? There we go. So I saved, right? And then what am I doing right now in terms of weight carried? Wrong button. Like, it's not too bad, right? Like, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I'm not super over encumbered. Oh, his Wagner reception. Oh, ooh. I should. All right. So here we are. We did a great job. Everything's great. We're going to go and finish exploring the shed in the daylight. Well, I'm going to keep it here for the moment. I also used a bunch of it in that fire because that's what all that fire stuff is for, you know? You use it. Okay. So we did that. We did all this. I believe we've looked at the lockers. Coldrake, I wanted to tell you something. Oh my gosh. I didn't forget that I did want to tell you something. So a Swiss stage designer took Wagner's idea oh, interesting. Yormwood, if you have something good, put it in the Discord so I can read it. So Coldrake talked about all these great hits
end up being useful
from the 60s and 70s. And I want to tell you all something really interesting. I don't think I need any repairs yet because I haven't been eaten by anything recently, so I should be good. So look, I want to tell you something super fascinating. So there is a website. I think I might have made a copy of it, the first iteration and then the second iteration. I've got to check. But there is a website by somebody who's sketchy, but the website is interesting.
Hope I can still eat this.
And the website was the greatest songs of all time, which, if you know me at all, you already know I think is questionable, right? Like, what do you mean the greatest songs of all time? Super sketchy. I am skeptical because that is my life. Oh, please. Thank you, Yomard. Thank you. So this guy has his, most best songs of all time. So what are his criteria for the best songs of all time? So his criteria for the best songs of all time are songs that hit #1 on the pop chart for 10 weeks or longer. And so he went and he did all this study going back to Billboard's actually not as old as his list because there was other lists before Billboard. So he goes back as far as he can. So he's looking at the 1890s to the present day. And he makes this list of all the songs that are 10 weeks or longer on the Billboard chart. Now, I'm going to note, of course, that he's only looking at the pop chart, not the country chart or the R&B chart or charts in Germany. Oh, hey, there's a dead body. There's a dead body here. Interesting. Okay, well, frozen corpse. That's great. Cool. Everybody, frozen corpse with a note. That doesn't seem bad at all. Okay, well, great. If there's one thing I've learned, if you can't remember the best song in the world, you just have a tribute. Yes. So this one I thought was super, super interesting. And what was interesting to me about it was that he made it 10 weeks as the cutoff. Why 10 weeks? It's interesting. You could pick a different cutoff, but that's what he did. So this guy had an agenda, right? So he has an agenda, which of course is clear, and I know what his agenda is, so I figured it out, especially when he decided to change something, because he didn't like how the results were going, but I still find it interesting. So Coldrake was talking about how the 60s set all these great songs, and here's what I'm going to tell you. Not if you go by songs that are #1 on the pop chart for 10 weeks or longer. So from the 1890s to 1955, there are lots of songs that are #1 on the pop chart for 10 weeks or U.S. pop chart for 10 weeks or longer. Bing Crosby has a bunch of songs. There are bunches of songs. The Laughing Song, so and so on. There's just oodles and oodles of songs that hit that mark. Once we hit 1955, there is one song, which is the last one, that he doesn't think should count, but he puts it on there. Thank you, Rissa. He puts it on there. even though he doesn't think it should count, and that's Elvis Presley's Hound Dog. And he doesn't think it should count because Hound Dog itself wasn't actually #1 for 10 weeks or longer, but like the A side and the B side of the single basically both were charting, so that single itself lasted for 10 weeks or longer, but he didn't. Anyway, so between 1955 and 1991, which includes the 60s and 70s with all those great songs, there were only 2 songs. Only 2 songs were #1 on the pop chart for 10 weeks or longer. Between 1955 and 1991, only 2 songs were able to make that. And it was Physical by Olivia Newton-John, 1980, and You Light Up My Life by Debbie Boone. I think it was her version. So between 55 and 91, only 2. So when we think about all the greatest songs, the best songs, the greatest songs, none of them were able to last on the pop charts for 10 weeks or longer. None of them. Once we hit 1991, we hit the SoundScan era, and all of a sudden there's a huge number of songs that hit 10 weeks or longer. Once we hit 1991, a lot by Mariah Carey, et cetera, et cetera. Now, this is where he decides to get sketchy, because he wants to basically argue that Bing Crosby is better than Elvis Presley and everybody else that comes afterwards, because he likes music from the 1940s and he doesn't like rock and roll. That's what it is. But so when you look at it, then you've got all these songs from 91 onwards, but he didn't like that, so he decided to change his list, because I had the list before he decided to change his methodology, to basically rescale songs from 1991 afterwards to make them, to basically make it so that there were fewer songs from 1991 onwards that were #1 for 10 weeks or longer. But I still think that the thing is very interesting, and I think it's really fascinating that these moments we think all the greatest hits, all these are the best songs ever, none of them hit the top, none of them were able to last for 10 weeks or longer on the pop chart, which I think is fascinating. So we imagine, right? His agenda is modern pop sucks. That is true. Popular inflation must be accounted for, yes, but gold platinum albums, even one-hit wonders that are still listened to online today. You know, but there are many songs that were popular that we don't listen to today anymore. Does that mean they're not as good? And what we listen to today, I mean, here's the thing. What we listen to today is basically being decided by baby boomers who are picking their music, right? And they're picking their stuff and not other stuff. Let me read this to you. So yeah, like, we can talk about all those things, but they didn't hit the pop chart for 10 weeks or longer. So, right? And so I think it's interesting the ways in which the baby boomers have made their music through Rolling Stone magazine, Guitar Hero, through various things, seem like the most important stuff, but, you know, right? Interesting. Forest Talker Flyer. It's time to rise up. We can no longer stand idle and watch our beloved Great Bear continue to be raped by the resource companies. If you care about saving this island, meet up at the old lodge in the outskirts of Mystery Lake Provincial Park. Cell service and sat phone access is spotty, so use the sneaker net. Remember, they're watching, so be careful who you trust. Ooh, interesting. And of course, right, these things are super US-centric because there are lots of things that were very popular in Europe, as a matter of fact. Darn it, another B- homework paper. Still can't. No, but this is how you do it, right? You just start thinking and like working through it. That's how you do it. Storm lantern. I have a lantern. Yes. Yeah, I have a lantern. We're good. I know, sneaker is where all the scalpels, like, first, I don't even know what I'm going to do with all these metal shards. I don't know what to do with it, but it's fine. So yeah, and now, please note, this is very important. I am skeptical of the criteria, marine flare. Ooh. Hey, this will scare wolves. That's nice. I am skeptical of the criteria 10 weeks or longer on the US pop chart is what makes a song one of the greatest songs of all time, because what about the country charts? What about the R&B charts? There are a lot of charts, hello dead body, not just the pop charts. And also, you're not taking into account the charts from other
Nobody needs this anymore.
countries. So like, I personally am skeptical of those things, but I'm skeptical of most things. But I think it's an interesting set of criteria. I also think that I'm trying to make a playlist at one point in time, that if you look at the songs that are like these top songs, you probably don't know a lot of them because the baby boomers don't care about them. So then we don't remember them. Do you know what I mean? Like, and so like, I find that very, very interesting. Yeah, let's see how those $300 basketball star sneakers hold out this winter weather. Yeah, I wish I could, oh, hello. Nice. So like, there are things that I find really, get distracted in earnest. So there are things I'm really fascinated by when it comes to how we are deciding, you know, what is great, what's not great, because I think most of these things are bogus. I think that greatness is not anything you can actually determine. And every time, but I'm always interested when people try, because every time they try to determine greatness, it's always sketchy in a way that I find really interesting. Like I love it. Like I love when people try to discover greatness because it's always questionable, but you always learn something about their values.
Use this.
And I find that interesting. That, you know, it's like personally, I'm interested in that. I'm not interested in trying to find out what's great because I just think that's not doable. I think it's silly. But I'm interested in what people think is great and why they think it. That I love. That I'm like, ooh. Hey, coal. We got a lot of coal. We got a forge. I don't know how to make things though, so
This stuff will come in handy.
quality tools, we want that. We want salty crackers. These are all good things that I'm just gonna load up on. I wish I knew what to do. I wish I knew what to do, but I don't know how to make stuff. The best part of an hourly rate is schedules for me to stop.
Slowing me down.
Stop whining. Stop whining. Just be less of a whiner, Mackenzie. Be less of a whiner. What does it even mean to be great? Like, I just don't even think any of that makes sense. Like, I think none of that makes any sense. So I'm just not interested in making, and anytime somebody wants like, oh, great, I was like, oh, whatever. I'm not interested. But I'm interested in why you think it's great versus some other thing. Like, that's interesting to me, but I'm not really interested in greatness. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not, greatness is not particularly interesting to me. Having a kid who has a kid who has a kid. I don't know, ask for us. Oh, I like, they're great. That's true. I cringe when my dad cranks up his country music. It's a reflective action on my part. Still, there are some soul ults I do like, but that may be due to Roy Rogers and other old-timey cowboy shows when I was a kid. You know, and yeah, so I'm fascinated by the imagination of what great is, but I'm not particularly invested in greatness itself. Because, you know, great for whom? You know what I mean? Like, who says? Who says? I don't care. Like, that is
Me here.
sweet. I think Tenacious D is great because it's just two buddies doing a thing they love together. Sure, but there are people who are two buddies doing things they love together that you may not like. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and so like I always think about those things, and I'm just fascinated by the problem of it, but I'm not invested in there being a right answer. Because I don't think there ever can be a right answer, and I think whatever answer is right for somebody will be not right for somebody else. And I like Tenacious D. I think they're good. I enjoy them. Is taking an old song track and doing variations. It's a very subjective word. Great. Yeah, a positive one, sure. But when you get to greatest, I'm just confused. Like, do you know? I don't know if you know this, right? But Mariah Carey was named the Artist of the Millennium by like either Billboard or like the World Music Association, and someone decided. And look, I'm not disrespecting Mariah Carey. I'm not saying that she's bad or whatever, but somebody decided that there would be one artist who was the best artist from the year 1000 to the year 2000, and that person would be Mariah Carey. What does that even mean? How does that make any sense? How does that make any sense?
This will come in handy.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you, like, what does that even mean? That makes no sense to me. I don't know why that is even a thing. Like of all time, of all countries, for like 1,000 years, like, what does that mean? So like, Mariah Carey's better than like Oprah Haas.
So keep the
Like,
lamp
what are
burning.
we doing now? Do you know what I mean? Like, what is this? Is taking an old soundtrack and doing variations. You know, that's all the people did for a really long time, is making variations on tunes. And you know, Okay, well, I want to add the caveat that the thing they're doing isn't hard. Thank you, Krillin. With that caveat, do you think, example I don't like? Oh, well, I don't know what kind of music you don't like. If there was like a music you didn't like genre-wise, I'm sure that within that genre there'd be somebody who are just pals making music, but you may not like the genre, so that might make it something that you don't like. Or they may not be very good at what they do. That could be another thing. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. And so I always find that interesting. How can you possibly distill all of music to just a single point across? Yeah, I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions about that. And so it just made me laugh. I just thought it was hilarious. Because that's just silly. You know what I mean? That's just silly. Come on. Well, okay, you're right. I don't particularly like jazz, and a lot of jazz is somebody's doing. Yeah, exactly, right? And so like it's not a bad criteria. I just think whatever criteria people use to decide what is great, including myself, I just think it's really useful to poke at yourself, be like, okay, well, I think this is great, but hold on. What if that's a water bottle? What might I be missing? Like, or how might that criteria not work? Because I feel like when you do that, I always like just get more insight. You know what I mean? Because then it becomes that, because usually for me, that's a process of making things more specific. Because when I can realize, okay, so it's not just buddies hanging out doing things together, because here's a set of buddies that I don't like. So then it's going to be, so then I have to refine it and make it more detailed. And so for me, I tend to poke at whatever criteria I come up with so that I find examples that don't fit that criteria so I can make my criteria more detailed. So for me, it's all about specificity, trying to refine my criteria better and better and better to make it more and more detailed until I can figure out something that just is more specific in the end. It tends to be what I'm going for. Never thought Carrie had a wide range. I mean, country, swing, other types. I mean, so many have done crossovers. Who got paid to pick Carrie? Now, I will say that why does having a variety of style make you better than someone who doesn't? Right? Like, if you are if you can cross over, does that make you better than someone who can't cross over? If so, why? What if you're just really good at the one thing that you do? Like a lot of opera singers can't do other styles. Does that make them not good? You know what I mean? Like, why? And so for me, it's just all about like, what are the values that we've decided are tied into those things? Let's eat food. Let's eat, what is this? I'm gonna eat that wolf meat. Doesn't look like it's gonna give me a lot, but yeah, we're gonna eat that wolf meat. Some poor wedding minstrel with the voice angel just broke down in tears when he heard he lost it on that award. I know Paul Taylor. He's like, I worked so hard in the 1400s and I don't get picked. Oh, I'm so sad. Let's have more soda. I feel that on an individual level, it's a fine indication of personal support taste. Like someone saying Trooper's a great storyteller or Wolf's a great writer. It's when you try to claim that on behalf of a generation or a year, so that we get into using a subjective word. Yeah, totally, Werewolf, yeah. She's known for her range. Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Oh, Yormund, have a good evening, Yormund. Atomica, I see you. To be honest, I prefer people saying specifics they like over generic words like great, but I know I've done it because of character. Oh yeah, totally. Absolutely. She doesn't have a range, she just has high C's. Everything is high C's. Got it at Tesla and Mariah Carey. Atomica, her first hit, Vision of Love, really good song. I mean, for me, I really enjoy that song. I think that she does. It's snowing out there and it's kind of miserable. I feel like going out there right now is going to be a bad idea because it's going to be, let's say, full of blizzards, and that seems bad, and I would like it to be less
Somebody's watching me.
blizzardy. I always feel that somebody's watching me, and I have no privacy. Whoa, I always feel that somebody's watching me. Tell me, is it just a dream? Ba-da-da-ba-bow. Thank you for that follow. By the way, my lighting's all weird, but it's because I have taken down my big lights for the move, and so we're going to be atmospheric. Is what we've got. Thank you so much for that follow. I appreciate it. Also, Atomica, I see you. I see you. My sister used best instead of favorite for quite a while when she was young. It always rubbed me the wrong way. Full House isn't the best. It's your favorite. Absolutely. Absolutely. Hey, Rissa, I'm not certain yet. We will see. We will see. Let's not go outdoors. It's a silly place. I know. I also hate that she wrote the best Christmas song, but I don't hate it because it's the best Christmas song. But because I'm a man of paradoxes. That's fair. That's fair. So yeah, and like for me, when I think like for me, I'm always very like critical of myself about those things, because I just like to know better why I like things, and so I try to always get myself to like poke, right? Like whenever I think of a thing, I'm like, okay, well, give me an example that doesn't work, so that I can then get better. Like I like for example, I wouldn't say I like crunchy games because I was like, well, there are crunchy games that I don't like, so it's not that. I like light games. Like, well, there are light games that I don't like, so it's not that. So it's not whether or not the games are crunchy or light. Okay, so then what is it, right? So like, I always try to get a better sense of what actually is going on by trying to find counter examples of a thing that I think that then I think will sometimes help me get just a bit more specific. Yeah, we're sitting by the fireplace. It's really good. I didn't know Hrothgar. I didn't know that she was Wham Western art music. Speaking of somebody watching me, I watched a pretty cool vid about the singer's career. He was a bit nutty. Really, Atomica? If that video is on YouTube, please link it in our Discord so I can watch it. I listened to Wendy Carlos back when she was Walter. Oh yeah, Wendy Carlos. Yeah, Wendy Carlos is great. Although I think Wendy Carlos was already out to herself as Wendy before Switch on Bach came out. I just think that she had it under her other name, which is really unfortunate. Makes that so sad. Yeah, because I think she was already out to herself and to a small circle of people. It's just that she wasn't able to publish under her real name at the time because people were not ready for it. Atomica. I am going to sing for you in honor of these bits. We're in the Money, as sung by Ginger Rogers from the film Gold Diggers 1933, which means I'm gonna sing it in Pig Latin. Fast. Everybody in hey the anime. Everybody in hey the anime. If we are kill out, we have see to it like young way. Everybody in hey the anime. If the ask is Ronnie say, oh man, dear, we are you dress young rail. You read real say, I real say, ute and when we see it, we're look at iron the eye. We're in the money. We're in the money. We've got a lot of what it takes to get along. Thank you, Atomica. Thank you very, very much. I prefer Switch on Bach 2 over Switch on Bach. Your person's gone completely into hiding and no. Oh, Atomica, that's so strange. Ooh. Oh yeah, Tron and Clockwork Orange. Those are great soundtracks. Yeah. So I think but also I think it's important to I don't want to go outside, but I'm going to. But it's cold out there. And I'm carrying a whole bunch of weight already. There's definitely a reason he's a one-hit wonder though, and the rest of the stuff was just not good. They only really got that song to hit because Michael Jackson's involvement. Well, that's fair. That's fair. So I'm gonna have to go back into that building, once we get out. Once I finish investigating. Also, this just looks bad. I don't like it. I don't like it, everybody. So, like, I think it's important to challenge ourselves as a society over what criteria we're judging as good or bad, whatever it is, because very often what is considered good or bad is biased. And I'm not talking about individuals, like your individual, but like as a society. And the biases are such that entire cultures, music don't count as good. And so, like, I always just feel like it's really useful and important to poke at ourselves a little bit that way. It's something that I think is important because, and I know I told you this, but as an example, Side by Side is never a good sign. It is never a good sign. Yeah, I just, like, we're just going to go and, like, do a bit of a walk around, and then we're going to come back. But, so there are these scientists that sort of, and I've told this, but some of you haven't heard of this, but it's a good example of this. There are these scientists who sent an email to the American Musicological Society because they were looking for musicologists to help them with their project. They were going to go and use science to figure out what is the best music of all time and place, like what is objectively, using science, the best music. And I was like, well, this looks like a crappy idea. This is bad. What do you mean the best music using science? What are you talking about? You know what I mean? I was like, this seems not good. And I certainly was not involved because I did not want them to get involved with their weirdness. And they went and they got some people to work with them, apparently. And then they did their scientific studies using objective science. I think they probably also used computers, because that's very popular, computers, to figure out what is objectively the best music of all time. And the answer to that question was Beethoven. And why am I not surprised that using objective criteria, the best music of all time is Beethoven? Because of course it is. Because there's no such thing as objective criteria for music. And but people want to say to me, there's a certain set of people that worship science as a religion and discourse. Absolutely, Crone. And the thing is, I think it's like bad science. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's not good science. I think that's bad science. I don't have anything against science, but that's bad science. Do you see what I'm saying? Anyway, and I've had people try to do this with me all the time. They're like, oh, but you can tell objectively if this music, yeah, Mike Corch, yeah, so we're going to go back indoors, right? And we're going to go and make a fire. Because that's what we're going to do. And, oh gosh, my chance of success is not good, so let's use some accelerant.
Well, that didn't work.
What do you mean it didn't work? Come on. Why? Ooh, gosh. Okay, well. Come on. Light the fire. Okay.
Turned out pretty well.
Let's add some fuel while we're here. Let's do some reclaimed wood, and let's do some sticks. And let's see what I have stored in my locker that I can use for fire as well, because clearly I'm going to need this firewood, probably this book, and more firewood, newsprint. We'll just take it all. It's fine, right? And then these stacks of papers. Yeah. All that said, we're going to go and hang out over here and make that fire better, because where we're at right now is not the best. Yeah, let's add some fuel to that fire. Let's book. And yeah. And we're gonna, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna cook some food. It's gonna be really nice. We're gonna have some banged up tomato soup. It's gonna make us feel good about our lives. And then it's good. Yeah. Yes, there you go. Whew. Yeah, this is, what does the wind effect... I don't think the wind effect reaches indoors, because if you can see that little shield, I'm pointing, but you can't see it. There's a little shield in the top center, and that little shield says that we're blocked from the wind. Oh, you're right. I do have 2 hatchets. I'm going to put one of the hatchets away. That's what I'll do. I can't believe I'm advocating this move. I'm going to burn some books. Botulism is great. It's really good for you. Like, it's feeling good. So, like, I'm warming up. And also, I should clearly not go out in a blizzard. But we're gonna not do that. Yeah, right? So people will say, well... And I've had this discussion before. People are like, well, but you can tell... Oh, here's a great example of this. So there is some, like... I'm sure you've seen it online, where they can prove that popular music now is worse than popular music in the 1960s and 70s because they're counting how many different words are being used in the song, and they can show you that music today uses fewer words than music in the 1960s. They're like, look, this song by Bob Dylan has all of these words, but this other song by, whomever doesn't have as many words, different words, and so it's not nearly as good. And Krellin gets the ultimate question that I would have to ask. Why is a song better if it has more words? Why does that make a song better? You might like it, like some people, like yes, you can objectively count words, but the idea that having more words makes a song better is not objective, right? That is not an objective. Like, counting words can be objective, but that a song is better because it has more words is not objective. Like, it's not an objective thing. That's it, right? Yeah, it's Scabby. What a weird criteria. Well, because Scabby, what it was, a bunch of people wanted to prove that, like, Baby by Justin Bieber is not as good as, like, Blowin' in the Wind by Bob Dylan. But I was like, there were songs in the 60s that also had very few words. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know what to tell you. Like, you're comparing songs in different genres. It makes no sense. It doesn't make any sense. They use more words than the instrument-only pieces in the classical era. Ta-da! Yeah, so what they're totally missing is the culture of the time. Also, chromatic genre. Dance songs tend to have fewer words than folk songs, but that doesn't make one better than the other, you know? Anytime someone wants to metric something subjective like better, be sus. Absolutely, virtual hell. Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the thing. I was like, let's maybe do different things. Were older pop songs more reverse? Sure, maybe, but maybe not. Like, do you know the song "I'm Henry VIII" from the '60s? I'm Henry VIII, I am Henry VIII, I am. I got married to the widow next door. She's been married 7 times before, and everyone was an Henry. Wouldn't talk to Willie or to Sam. I'm a grateful man, I am Henry. Henry VIII, I am. Second verse, same as the first. I'm Henry VIII, I am Henry the, like, you know, that's, or, what's the other one? They're coming to take me away, haha, they're coming to take me away, hee hee, ho ho, ho ho, to the funny farm, where things are happy all day. That one also doesn't have a lot of different lyrics. Like, I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. Like, I bet they wouldn't use the same criteria to try to say, yeah, maybe not, right? A longer song is better than a short song? Like, yeah, like, I just feel like, you know, right? We just have to, like, be like, what are we doing? Good Lord, being objective about art is just, you're not setting yourself for greatness there. Like, right? I'm like, how about we, like, this is why I, and people get money, they certainly do. War, what is it good for? Versus Baby, Baby would win. Right, you know, yeah, right? So, like, what are we doing? Counterpoint, you just said Baby by Justin Bieber, and now it's stuck in my head, while Blowing the Wind isn't, thus Bieber wins. Right? Mm-hmm. Actually, Baby's actually, you know, Baby's actually really interesting as a song, because it uses the doo-wop chord progression, which I do not, my banjo's in the other room, so I cannot play it for you, nor do I have a keyboard with me, so I cannot play it for you, but there's a chord, like, Earth Angel, will you be mine? And it's like a 1 6 4 5 1 6 4 5 1 6 4 5. It's a chord progression. It's classic doo-wop, and that song. Ooh, hey everybody. We stopped our blizzard. I can leave. I can go outside. Oh, but you know what I should do? I should actually put down a hatchet, and I should look at my inventory, because I suspect that I have some things that I can just harvest. Yeah. And listen, better is imprecise. Absolutely. As a child's one of my favorite, like, so anyway, yeah, it's a doo-wop song, which I think is super interesting, because it, you know, here's an interesting question. What happens if I repair this? let's just repair this and see what happens. Which there's something really there, like Baby has a lot of really interesting throwback stuff, which is interesting because they're also kind of there's a lot of really fascinating things about Baby. So this windbreaker. Do you think I should wear this windbreaker rather than this new urban parka? It's not as warm. No, I probably shouldn't. It's not as warm. We should just stay warm. We're going to stay warm. That's what we're going to do. That's it. That's it. Though it stated tonight, I can't actually remember my source, so it might be wishful thinking. Do you ever have the banjo? I do, Valtiel. I do actually have the banjo out on stream. I actually bring it out. I'm doing a thing where I'm like bringing it out on. Right now, my wrist is like not in the best space, so I can't play it. But on Saturdays, I try to go and play on like a song on Saturdays, because if I play a song on Saturdays, it makes me practice so that I can do it. So I do. Oh, I need cured leather, everybody. See what happens? If I don't have my cured leather, I'm gonna just repair this. I'm gonna get the cured leather from the place. Here's an oldie for you, Trooper. Wildfire. The three neighbor girls maybe listen to that over and over again. Somebody mentioned like I've got my mind set on you, which is also doo-wop. I prefer Dock the Bay or Boardwalk over nearly. Goldrake. The Beach Boys aren't doo-wop. The Beach Boys are surf. Doo-wop is basically 50s. It's like a whole decade earlier. I would not consider them doo-wop. Let me go get some cured leather. They are yeah. They're is the fire out? It is. The fire's out, by the way. Yeah, they're not doo-wop. They are they're surf. It's different. It's different. Now, so they were interested in doo-wop, so sometimes they would let's take all of the cured leather for a moment. We can transfer it back afterwards. And also we're going to put one of these hatchets in there because I said we would. Yes, so let's just finish doing a little bit of repair because, right, we were repairing these gloves and these shoes. Actions repair. Let's see. Aren't you already pretty maxed up for warmth? Oh, Jer, you're probably right. You're probably right, and you're probably right. This is not as good. We all need cure leather to make 2 level. Let's see. I thought doo-wop was where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? I need both a hatchet and a hacksaw because they're different. They do different things. Also, are you hearing all that wind? Yes. Also, it's getting to be nighttime, everybody, which it's now dark. Okay. Well, okay. We're going to go to sleep. And when we wake up, we're going to eat a lot of food and peaches. Why am I wearing radio? I don't know why I'm wearing RadioCon makeup. It is really a question. I'm not gonna go too much longer. I didn't want to light the. Oh my gosh, I didn't want to light the stove right now because I knew that I'm gonna want to light the stove after I wake up so that I can get some food. And you know, I wanted to do that. It's not makeup, it's frostbite. Oh, I love that. So let's light some fire. We're gonna just light that up. Just get some.
That did it.
Get a fire going. Add some fuel. I'm feeling really good about it. We're gonna cook some food. I know that we're just hanging out together, all of us. We're gonna have some pork and beans. And then our life is good. I'm surprised this game does not let you use grease or face cream as a windshield. I know, right? That would be so good. Okay. So, I was at a spot. Oh yeah, yeah. Doo-wop. Doo-wop is a. Doo-wop is one of the two forms of music that forms the basis of rock and roll. Like when rock and roll became rock and roll, like they took basically rhythm and blues and doo-wop, and put those together and under that early category, and they're going to add in like hillbilly music. Like it's kind of like a mix of a bunch of different stuff. Yes, I know. He's looking at some of friends would call it ashy. That is true. That is true. I'm just gonna get myself some food. Gonna eat and drink so that I am all ready to go, and then we're gonna probably call it, and then we can discuss what's gonna happen on Saturday. Yeah, so I'm always suspicious of criteria of greatness because it usually does not include things that I like, basically, right? So I'm a little skeptical of all that. Here we go. Let us eat it. Eat the pork and beans, and then let us also eat what? Chips, maybe something like these sardines. I could eat that. Sure, let's eat some sardines. No, let's eat that. We're also going to have fluids, but I want to eat first because eating soaks up some fluids, and it'll be a little bit better, I think, to just drink everything all up at once, you know, as you do. I had a thought that I was trying to remember what it was. And that's why I think that, like, for me, like, especially when I'm teaching classes, I always try to say that it's, like, you're not going for, like, a paper. There's a paper that I say is not a great paper to write. Well, there are a couple of papers that are not the best papers to write. And some of them are things like, so-and-so, how great are they? And, like, so-and-so, how great are they is not really a good paper. Also, why is it so dark out right now? Do you find that suspicious? Oh, because yeah, okay. But so I try not to go with this music is great, but I try to focus on this music was important in this time period, right? That this music was important for people in this time period. And I feel like focusing on that is more useful because it kind of doesn't matter if it's great or not great. I'm going to put all the cloth. Do I have bandages? Do I have enough bandages? Do I have enough bandages? Do I have enough bandages? People. I have 3 bandages. We're going to be radical and put everything. Well, 10. We're going to put a bunch of stuff here. Okay. I'm nervous. As would any covering of... Yeah. Okay, so look. I am now putting things in the back in here. I'm doing like a good quality tools. Nice. We're gonna keep that, of course, and we'll get rid of our tinder. I'm really worried about what happens if I need fire stuff. I just want you to know it. I just want you to know that I'm concerned about it, but remember the game you played on another stream where you rated a female singers? It was super interesting to listen to how you went through the choices. Major change of culture, influence. Yeah, because for me, what is like my taste is never really all that interesting. Like just because I like it is not. And I try to talk to my students about this. I was like, one of the worst papers you could write in terms of doing anything really interesting is a paper that is basically, oh, I love so-and-so. They're so great. Like, that's not gonna do much for you as a, like, what is that paper gonna do? That paper's not gonna do a whole lot. So-and-so's great is not a really good, it's not a good choice for a paper topic. Here, we're gonna save right now. I would say a better argument would be there's less effort put into modern radio music altogether since it's more formulaic. Oh, Atomica, I would dispute that. There's still a lot of creative music out there in pop, but it's just not what is considered the traditional music venues that would have been much more experimental. So, hello, Atomica. But see, the things that I would say is, but I would like, but I craft all the time. It's just that I don't have a lot of recipes, right? Like I've made bandages a lot, so that's awesome. I've made fishing tackle. I can't, I already have I have some hooks, right? Like I have a hook, right? Yes, right? And I have a line. Maybe I don't have a fishing tackle. Let me just make one right now. I'm going to craft that just in case. So-and-so is great. Makes me think there is nothing objective about to happen in said paper. Right. And also, I don't know what I'm going to get out of that. Like, I don't know what... Yeah, see, like, here's a rabbit skin hat. I need more pelts. And I have made a... Yeah, so, like, I need more recipes is what I need. That's what I need. I need more... Oop. Come over here. Warm up, my friend. I need more recipes. Is what I need. That's what I need. And we're gonna save one more time because I'm paranoid. I'm a little paranoid. Yeah, and so like, and here's the thing: if we talk about formulaic, people have been complaining. By the way, hold on. We're gonna go over here. We're gonna quit out, and we're gonna just chat for the end. Let me quit. Quit. Yes. So here's the thing: people have been complaining about formulaic music forever. If you look at the Tin Pan Alley era, like that's like very formulaic. All those songs are super formulaic, and it takes a lot of effort to make a really good formulaic song. A formulaic song is not necessarily less effort than a non-formulaic song. Motown, a lot of those songs are formulaic, but that doesn't necessarily make them not good. The blues is formulaic. The blues is a completely formulaic genre. Does that make the blues not as good as something that is not formulaic? So I feel like whether or not something is formulaic or not is another one of those things that's a subjective value. And it takes a long time to actually get to make a good formulaic song. Yeah, so like like you've established an entire paper in the introduction kind of thing. Also, the thing, Virtual Hell, is that I feel like green sleeves is formulaic. Oh, absolutely. And rondelles are formulaic, and sonatas are formulaic. You know what I mean? So like that's like, I'd say the way people consume music today being less about radio play than online. People have more access to creative music, and also what does all that mean? So here, what I would say though, I think is, yeah, so I kind of think, well, what do we mean there? Like, what do we mean by creative? What do I mean by, like, what do all those things mean? And why is one better than the other? So, and I think one of the things I try to tell my students, like, one is that if you really love somebody, like you love some artist, what is the point of your paper? Right? Like, what is the point of your paper? I would say modern top 40 music, I'd actually say country is a bigger reference than top, is they do less with the formula. But we'd have to decide, right? Because we'd have to decide, what does that mean to do less with the formula? We'd have to decide what we think about that. We have to sort of come up with ways to sort of judge that. I have to order because I no longer have my microwave. My microwave I've packed up and shipped off, so I'm gonna have to order food. That's what I'm gonna do. And I'm gonna have to order it on my phone, so it will arrive before Critical Role starts. Because I don't have don't have it. So I think that again, we have to decide, like, a lot of dance music is formulaic, but is being formulaic bad? Like, what do we think about all that? So here's what I want to say. When I tell my students, I said, look, I love so-and-so is not an interesting paper and it doesn't do anything for you. So when you write a paper, you have to try to do something, right? Like, you have to do something for society. Like your paper should have some purpose. I got to hear Paul McCartney talk about how they use classical music to make these Beatle hits. Mm-hmm. All that was a teen sketch comedy show on Nickelodeon. Oh, that's interesting. So I'm thinking, right? Okay. If you like some artist, why is that a paper? So-and-so is great is only a paper if nobody thinks so-and-so is great, right? Like, if there's an artist that nobody thinks is great, then that paper might be interesting, right? Right. That could be interesting. Werewolf says there's just access to so much music. Taste can develop extremely differently because of access, I'd argue. Oh, absolutely. So we get a lot of people applying their rubric made through their hyperspecific taste something wildly different. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yes. Um, and so I kind of think about, right. So like you're trying to make some kind of argument in your thesis, right? So saying that, uh, Kanye West is a genius is not a good paper because most people already think that. So writing that is not going to be an interesting paper. Beethoven is great is also not going to be an interesting paper because people already think that. So that's not an interesting paper. So don't write that paper. Somebody wrote a paper about how great Stevie Wonder was, and I was like, that's not a good paper because people are not going to dispute you. There's no argument there. There's no conversation about that. So that's not a good argument. Um, if everybody thinks so, like Rebecca Black is great is a better paper, but that's still not a good thesis because now it's still interesting because most people thought that she was terrible. So making an argument for Rebecca Black to be respected is more interesting as an argument, but Rebecca Black is great is still not a good argument. Instead, you would need to sort of say something along the lines of, um, well, yes, Rolfs. I mean, when the 20s, early 50s only had clunky home radios, the radio was their connection to the world of music, then television, then the interwebs. What if I wrote a paper about how Kanye's perceived greatness was just his? No, that would be interesting, right? See, Carolyn, now that would be an interesting paper, right? Because now all of a sudden you've got something new to say that people might not have thought about, and now that becomes interesting, right? So then all of a sudden you're like, oh, okay, I would read that paper. It would depend on how you do it, but that's interesting, right? Because then you can sort of bring in disability studies. There's a lot you could bring in there. That would be interesting. Um, yeah, there was still variety, but still, and let's not get into what was appealed to whom and how radio was really racist times. Oh, absolutely. Um, yeah, come in with it. This is why Tiny Tim is an American treasure. I'd read that. People say that she isn't great, but there are a few songs I've spent much time singing. No, and I love Friday. If you're giving a PJ thesis, at least make it scandalous. But again, Rebecca Black is great is still not a good thesis, right? I feel like if what you're trying to do is basically try to get somebody to respect an artist that you like, that you think people don't respect, make a better argument, right? Like, don't say Rebecca Black is great. That's not going to be a very good argument. Better to actually make an interesting argument, like Rebecca Black. All right, how this one? Because I always say when you're going to sort of form a thesis in humanities fields, your thesis should be like this: people say this, but yet I will say this using this, and this is important because this. That's how your thesis should have all of those elements, right? Um, what if my argument is the reason you don't like Rebecca Black's is sexism? Make it a little bit, give me a little bit more, and you're onto something, right? So something like, Rebecca Black um, has been attacked as the worst singer of all time. People say this. However, these attacks are rooted in a long-standing tradition of holding up young, like teen girl artists to ridicule, by comparing Rebecca Black to Leslie Gore, Britney Spears, so and so and so and so. I will show a long pattern of this, and this is important because of this. And now you've got a thesis, right? And now in the process of writing that paper, you're subtly making a case for giving Rebecca Black more respect. But Rebecca Black is great. It's just not going to be a very good paper. Do you know what I mean? So you just have to actually don't just like show, don't tell. That's what it comes down to. Don't just say Rebecca Black is great. Show me something that will make me think about her in a new way, basically, right? What made Britney Spears great was the over-sexualization of her young appearance. See, I actually think that for me, what I think made I think it depends on who we're talking about, like who is your audience, and people are wanting different things. For some fans, what made Britney Spears great was that she was like them, but she had more freedom than they did, right? Like there are a lot of different reasons why people, and also that she made really good dance hits, that she was she had hip hop producers making her first album. She was like on a hip hop album. And so she was able to bring kind of a pop aesthetic, but incorporate sort of 90s hip hop sounds into that pop aesthetic. Like there are a lot of different arguments you could make, but like the question is like, what are we going to do with that one, right? Artist digs deep into the roots of music genre and then turns into something fresh, maybe. Okay, I really can't do Rick Black because my real argument is the reason you think Lady Gaga word is sexism. Yeah, right. And I think that like, and then how does she like? I would want to do something like I just think that you want to dig in there, right? I would direct that because it begins as a value judgment, ends with an attack. When did you stop being your wife? And so I think that like, and again, it's sort of like there is persistent, like there is a, there is a history of sexism when it comes to, but of course the problem with the idea of there's a history of sexism when it comes to the reception of female artists, which is true, especially in the pop genre, is that argument has already been made, that people have written that book already. So you would need to do something new. Jacqueline Warwick has done a lot with girls. Like she's done a lot of work on girl culture and girl artists. So that paper is already written. So that one doesn't need to be written before. Although most recently, a bunch of dudes who've been really sexist in exactly that way just realized they were being really sexist recently. And then they started writing about like, oh, hey, maybe we've been being really sexist all the time. I was like, you could have just read Jacqueline. Like people have been, okay. Some female academics have been writing that for a while now. You just seem to have just noticed right now. Welcome to the party. But so you just want to make sure that you're in a good conversation, that you have something new, fresh and innovative to say that can do something interesting is what I think. Cyndi Lauper came out about the same time as Madonna. I always felt that Lauper was the better singer, but the studio really pushed Madonna. But is she? What does better singer mean? What does that mean? What does better singer mean? What does better singer mean? I feel like better singer just doesn't make any sense either, really. See, her sex never came into it for me. My first thought was Gaga was David Bowie 2.0, which wasn't a complaint. Yeah. I mean, she was certainly she was very much inspired by David Bowie, certainly. And they pigeonholed Lauper's music. I mean, they did the same thing with Madonna, too. All it does is make your audience argumentative and reject your arguments. So you have to, it's all about like, I mean, praxis, it's about rhetoric is really important. Bree Newsom was just ranting today about how no one listens to anything until a white man says it. Well, right. My B- is dropping to a C. Better needs to be defined so it means something. As a technical writer, anytime a metric isn't declared, I get very sad. Absolutely. But also, I mean, people do that thing like better singer all the time. They're like, well, Christina Aguilera is a better singer than Britney Spears, so she's better. And I was like, what do you mean better singer? What do you mean by that? That she can do more melismas? But that's not what Britney Spears is doing. And why is being able to do a lot of melisma make you a better? What do you mean by better? Right? Like, so people are like, well, Pavarotti's a better singer than Aretha Franklin. I was like, well, better for what? What does that mean? What do you mean better? What does that mean? Right? And I think, do you mean louder? Do you mean like, what do you mean? Like, I would argue that Bob Dylan's a great singer for what he's doing. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like if I was watching usually louder, right? But just because you can do a lot of pyrotechnics, does that make you better? Like, you could have like just like one note and have that be really great. Like, so I always work with myself, not better or great, but effective for their audience, right? Like, I think that clearly Britney Spears is very effective for her audience, whereas other people were less effective. Like, when you think about all those pop princesses, there were a lot of them and not all of them have lasted. Britney and Christina did, but like Mandy Moore didn't as much. Maya didn't really go as far. So I always think about like, what are you doing and are you effective, rather than, I would argue that Bob Dylan was very effective at what he was doing. Doesn't mean that he's like, you know what I mean? Like, so like for me, that's not a value judgment of like great or not great, but clearly he was working his audience and he worked it effectively. So that becomes interesting, right? Yeah. I prefer Jacob Dylan's singing style over his father's, says Rissa. Yeah. Werewolf Phil says, this is how we end up with people who have the same amount of range getting called better or worse entirely in how high their range is. What makes a better range? I don't know anymore. And I think that why even do you need to have also, there are people who have very narrow ranges, people who love them. Like, why is having a wide range really good? Like, it could be good or it could not be good. I don't know. Louis Armstrong is an amazing singer. You feel it, right? But some people would say, oh, he's a terrible singer. Well, but why is he a terrible singer? Like, he seems to be very effective for his audience. In my opinion, I thought Lauper had a purer tone and a cleaner style, but since that might push my C to a D+, I'm going to go listen to Cat Scratch Fever. But again, pure tone and cleaner style, that's also like, you may not want a pure tone. Okay, like, first off, I really like Cyndi Lauper, but some people would find her too cutesy and might find it cloying. Some people may not like her tone. I like it, but some people may not. But it may not be effective if she were trying to do punk, well, depending on the kind of punk, actually, right? Or metal. So is Cyndi Lauper a good metal singer? I don't know. Is she a good opera singer? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, so like, what are we going to do there? Virtual says, well, I think we figured out is we have to throw the entire music industry into the Hunger Games style competition to solve for better music. Yes. Sinatra is a 1 octave range. I think he might actually have a higher range than that, Hrothgar. But a lot of male pop singers have very limited ranges. Country too. Like a lot of guys can get away with having a much narrower range than women. Women are expected to have a wider range, and so they have to practice more and get wider ranges. But a lot of guys don't have very large ranges, but people still think they're great and really love them. Yeah. Israel's Kamakaweo is, oh yeah, this, yeah. Yes, it's true. So that is a great version. Because I was thinking about, you know who I love? I love Depeche Mode. But like, do that song, The Grabbing Hands? Oh, thank you, Maggie. I'm going to go in like 4 minutes. You know that song, Grabbing Hands by Depeche Mode? The clock on the wall tells the story of it all. Picture it now, see just how the lies and deceit. Like there's not a lot of notes, right, in that song at all. Like, at all. One note, maybe one note, then the second note, then the second note. And like, but that song's great. Like, for me, I really enjoy that song. And so I kind of feel like, in minimalism, sometimes just one note for a really long time. Bo Weevil Blues has this one chord. That's fine. And so I kind of just feel like we have to kind of just like, what are we doing? That's all. I love Depeche Mode too. Ironically, most successful female metal singers tend to be on the short side, like Lauper. So who knows? She could have done, maybe, right? So many words, but clear is the best. Depeche Mode is only like one mode. All right, I gotta go. So let me tell you what's up. So it's Thursday. In a half hour, I'm going to be hosting Critical Role. So if you want to watch Exandria University with me, you can come and hang out on our chat and we'll be chatting together. That's what we're up to. Also, tomorrow there's no stream. Saturday, I may stream or I may not stream. I don't know. I might. If we stream on Saturday, it'll be The Outer Worlds. My PS4 is right over there. I'll have to find a chair to put it on and plug it in and see if we can do. So I might stream on Saturday. That is an example. If I stream on Saturday, we'll see, because I'm going to be moving on Thursday. That's when I pick up the Everything Counts is good. I'm picking up the U-Haul Thursday morning, and then I'm going to be driving. So I may stream The Outer Worlds, because I'm telling you, next week there will be no streams next week at all, 0 streams. So I may stream on Saturday, and then I'll just have 1 week off, and then hopefully the week after I can start streaming again. But I've got a lot to talk to you about soon. I've got some emails to do, but July is going to be a secret game that I can't tell you about yet because it's not been announced. The Cola starts in August, but there's and then also Blue Rose and The Witcher start in July. The Blue Rose, The Witcher starts in July. Another stream I can't tell you about because it's secret. we have our session 0 for Kolos, which was going to start in August, pardon me. So we've got a bunch of streams that are going to show up in July, and I've got some plans for July as well. So expect a bunch of goodness in July, and so that's exciting. Yes. So I remember the first time I saw Angela Gassa from Arch Enemy Live. This tiny little girl came on stage and was like, huh? And then the girl was Satan himself came out, this little 5-foot blonde. And I was amazed. That would be amazing. I'm going to go have foodstuffs. Hey, Kai Hawk, Kentucky. Thank you, Valtiel. Thank you. Oh, Tiny Tim. Tiptoe through the tulips. By the moonlight, that's where I'll be. So I'm going, but you can see me in a half hour for Critical Role, and probably on Saturday for the Outer Worlds. Sunday there'll be no Divinity Original Sin because Dot is moving on Sunday, and that's gonna be it. Yes, I am hosting CR tonight, so I will see you all in a half hour. I'm gonna go get some food. I'm gonna get a burrito. That's what I'm gonna do. So my friends, I will catch you all really soon. Oh, and I'm going to write up before I leave the after action report for Patreon, because we got our Patreon, and I want to let you all know how the season went for Kolos, and let you know how everything's happening and what we're looking at for July. So if you want to be a Patreon, it's much appreciated. You can find me at Trooper SJP on YouTube, and of course here. You can find me at Academic Foxhole on Twitter and Patreon, and we have a Discord, so you can join us. And oh yeah, I'm certainly gonna go and get some rest done because I might be working tomorrow. So here are the socials. Thank you, Jer. So catch us around, and we will see you soon. I will thank you all for being here, and I've got some plans, and I will catch you all on the flip side. Bye, everybody.